contest, getting dropped down by Hackshot. Mehmet does get Hackshot in return, though, and Kevin trying to clutch this one out as he keeps himself crouched to the ground. And Nightmare lights him up. That's going to be down in Fort Corner. What we can't say about every single team here is Nightmare gets bullets, and it's just going to be down to HeadHunterr. Can he make it happen?
Uncharacteristic for them. They tend to go for the complete insane damage, and you know what, that's another down.
Yeah, Zico. Between Zico and Zero, man, Kurd Squad is going to take this one. It looks like Luke 46 getting the KS members down. HeadHunterr's looking to do the same thing. He tries to light up Hazim. Doesn't quite land the shot. Tries to move around, but he's just going to have to stutter step, and that is it. And it's going to show. Turns it around. Good as you like. Dr. Savage trying to get it in there, but will they halt to ceasefire for just a second? No, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. The pre-fire, and Butcher spotted out the last member of KA.
Oh, no.
Oh, he got found out himself.
Two TRDs downfall, and they are looking to take the shots here.
Two shots. Hackshot and Kevin both down by Hama, but he gets dropped down by Evo. KS really doing double time. And RBK is opening fire right now into the TRD members. Zeros.
Notice from these guys. LBI just letting these guys run on past, but
Narcos! See him! It's going to be Narcos taken out. He won't get finished off. No, excuse me, he will. That's going to be...
Somehow it's still a live situation for RBK.
Captain! This is a tense one. We usually don't see it get this close, and RBK, one of the members going to get dropped, eliminated. Now it's going to be a 1v2 as he turns around the side, getting the one. So 1v1 situation. Who's going to take the win? And it looks like it's going to RBK! Down and big enough for the two of them. Thomas going to get dropped down by Kevin through the window. Now off the Chinky here. As Basile is going to get dropped down by Quiet. B52 turns on Lorans and go.
Hey.
Crush to crush. They are just caught in the honey trap. And there's nowhere for them to go. IQM getting lit. Oh, here comes AXT into the house of JS, and SWAT just sprays around trying to use his cover. He manages to get the knockdown onto Rodel. Turns around the side, looking for the pre-fire, getting the knockdown. Hackshot, JS making a run for it, trying. It looks like Zero's going to be the big hero for sure. And this is going to be it. TRD are the really finding some open freebies, and that is trouble for RBK. Loot 46, man. To the military island. Boot camp will be in set soon enough as Demon gets rushed in. Put a picture over there. Meanwhile, looks like KS are back to their ways. They're going to get an explosion onto open. No one sees him here. Captain opening up onto HeadHunterr. And that's going to be HeadHunterr finding Lawrence here. HeadHunterr turning around and getting...
Oh, look at this. Unfortunately.
Goodbye, HeadHunterr.
The bait thought he was in cover, but that nade might well go out.
Oh, Molotov!
He's going to be able to take the shots.
There he goes for it. Oh, no, Butcher!
Maybe KS can actually bring out some magic.
Yeah, 1v4. I mean, we've seen Stranger Things, or about as strange, as he goes full snake mode.
Unfortunately, he does the smart thing. Dodge the blue.
Yeah, it doesn't give an extra kill.
Zombie Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
play PUBG Mobile for free.
We interrupt your regular broadcast to bring you this important news bulletin. It is the third day of the semifinals here at the PMCO. That is, in fact, the PUBG Mobile Club Open. My name is Devin Pyrotechnics Young. I am joined by this lovely human being to my right. It is Tom, We Free Men Pickering. I mixed it up on you today.
Yeah, no, I entered into the ring nicely as well.
You did,
I'd
man.
say we're fairly well dressed. Look at you. Look
Absolutely. Are you ready to spring off the backboards there and knock some people down? Hopefully not me.
I definitely am, and I'll get a chair and I'll push.
There we go. Well,
But
only these chairs, I don't think they fold, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's going to be more painful then, even if it is cushioning. But you know what? I'm excited to see who's going to be the knockout champion of the day. We've had all teams fight so far in the semifinals, so we're going to be jumping into the heated action today.
Yep, we are on day 3 of the semifinals. Of course, there will be one more week after this. But to refresh you guys on how the tournament works, let's take a look at the placement points. 30 points go to the winner of each individual round. That is a whopping number when you consider the fact that only 1 point is given over to teams that pick up a frag.
It's okay, but it's not always the best for a lot of these guys when it comes into having to try and go in for all those frags, and then you get a team like Pirates who just go in for the rotations and get into the circle. But we haven't really seen too much of them do successful, so we'll see what they do today.
Yeah, the best teams seem to be the ones that kind of get a little bit of both done, right? They sometimes risk it for the biscuit. They go in, they take the fights, they win, but they need all 4 members up to still get that placement. So we have seen the meta kind of evolve a little bit away from some of these rushing teams that really will go in for the coin flip fights and more towards the teams that are a little more cautious. Now, here are the teams participating in the tournament. However, this is the group stages teams, all 32. They've been narrowed down to a 24-team pool that we will then further narrow to 16 for the regional finals for the ME region. But some of the teams we want to keep our eyes on, definitely keeping a look at 7 Reef Team. You see them, they were in Group A. They, of course, are now going to be in Group B. They'll get a chance to really move themselves up the standings today, and they were the second-place team out of the group stages, so I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Reef is on their team, and there's a reason why that team has his name in it, is because he's actually definitely their best player, best clutcher. But they do have other members that have done some clutch moments, but just nothing like him when he managed to get that 16-kill game.
Which was nuts.
Yeah, which we do reference a lot. So, you know what? That's old news. I want to see what you can bring into the tournament because there's not really been too much from them so far. And today they're going to be going up against a different group that they've not played against so far in the semifinals. So let's see what they can do. And also on Miramar. Yeah,
that's going to be another thing, too. We'll take a look at the teams that we'll be playing out today. But before we do that, let's go back in time just a little bit. Look at days 1 and 2. It all started in day 1 of the semifinals with Live to Kill coming up with a double chicken dinner. Then Executor picking it up, followed by L&D. On day 2, the Real Deal showed that they were, in fact, true to their name after having a horrendous day 1, picking up double chicken dinners themselves. RBK won on Miramar. And then Arab Madness, who we will get into in a little bit, managed to grab that last Erangel.
Yeah, and I was actually wrong. No Miramar today.
Always got a Sanhok map. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Miramar, Sanhok, same thing, right?
You know what? Everybody gets one per broadcast, Tom. I think, you know, just going here's a little bit early, but here are the way the maps break down. It starts with Vikendi, then it will go over to Sanhok. We will have double Erangel. It is a little sad we won't get Miramar today because I really like that map, but it has been changed out with Sanhok. Every team will play a couple of each of those, but it is really all about the Erangel. It's half the map pool.
Yeah, and it's definitely the one where we've seen a lot of the sort of the most interesting plays. Although Vikendi and Sanhok's been really good to sort of see these teams play on. They don't really play the same as like a normal competitive game for me, in my opinion, when it comes to Erangel. That's the classic, that's the best map, but I might be a bit biased towards that. I'm interested to see how these guys perform in Vikendi. We tend to see a lot of them sort of just hide in buildings and wait until the end, and then hop it across different ones.
Teams are getting used to Vikendi, though, it does seem, since it does show up in every day of play so far, whether it's the groups or now into the semifinals. So it was kind of weird coming in, right? Like, this was my first brush, you know, with competitive PUBG. I know you've been working on the desktop version of it for quite a while, but because Vikendi's such a new map, it did seem like there was a lot of uncertainty, and for the teams as well. So now we are seeing a lot more of concrete strategies on Erangel, whereas Vikendi and Sanhok, by extension, a little bit more fun and games. Sometimes maybe it is dancing in a house. Sometimes it's trying to rush in and shoot everybody like our favorite team, Rush to Crush, does.
Yeah, no, I mean, Rush Crush were an interesting team yesterday. Another interesting team is TRD, and in the later on after the games, they did actually reach out and they asked for a bit of sort of advice, like, okay, well, we're doing this. Is there anything we can do better? And they asked certain questions, and one of the things they asked is actually got a car, and then they rotated to Severny in the first game of Erangel, and that worked out fantastically for them. And they ended up winning the game.
Not hot dropping. Does not actually have too many downsides. Who'd have thought? But that's the thing, is like you have a lot of, even some of our best squads are newer teams. Like we did hear from TRD6U that, hey, you know, they haven't been together as long because a lot of these teams are kind of just forming up for this tournament, or maybe just a little bit prior to it. You know, PUBG Mobile is very much in its infancy when it comes to a competitive aspect.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's cool to see these teams stepping up.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a lot of competitions going on in the past, but this is the real deal. This is where we...
For global stuff especially.
Yeah, this is sort of going global, and this is where we actually take it up to the next level, and we go full on around the world, and we go just a little bit further than we have done previously. So it's interesting to see how these teams perform. But let's have a look at the standings here. So S&T still sitting nicely atop the throne here in first place, but TRD so close behind. They're only 6 points behind.
Very close. That is not a safe one at all, so S&T will have to try and protect that. Of course, those teams not playing today, neither is Live to Kill. But you know the team that is, Tom? It's Arab Madness. With only 4 games, they have 105 points. They have a very real chance to shoot up into the stratosphere today, and so do SWAT 69. Both those teams representing Saudi Arabia, definitely doing their fans proud.
Yeah, I mean, SWAT 69 sneaking up behind AM right there, and that's a little bit dangerous, a little bit too close for comfort, so it'll be interesting to see how they do perform. And very close placement points and kills as well. It's pretty much almost mirrored in regards to where it is. The only reason why AM are really ahead of them right now is because of placement points. They've got a couple more, so it's pretty good on that front. But we also have none of the rest of the teams on this page right now playing today, but we're interested to see if they do hold on to their placements. We talked about them. Team Rush to Crush did make it into 9th place. A little bit of a surprise for us. But then we have Kurd Squad.
Yeah, Kurd Squad have the exact same points as Rush to Crush, but they have half the games played. And this, I think, speaks to the strength of this Iraqi side. There's a reason they are the fan favorites, because they look just so darn strong. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can put up today. We will see them again. Of course, RBK on their debut performance had one chicken dinner. They looked pretty good in a couple of clutch moments. 46 loot I will keep my eyes on, but if you look down there into 15th place, it is 7 Reef, who I want to see step up in the clutch. Ooh. They didn't disappoint completely on their first day, but we were expecting more from the 2nd place team out of groups.
Yeah, I mean, if you compared them to Kurd Squad in the group stage, it was completely different.
Yeah, Kurd Squad was 9th.
Yeah, 7 Reef for what, 2nd? So it was insane the difference on that front. And Kurd Squad even have more kills than them. Another team that it's been a little bit of a disappointment is Light Pirates, but they've only played 4 games. Let's see how they can do today. Let's not talk about them too much. I mean, I love their dancing, but
we bigged them up. I think maybe they just haven't quite delivered on that level yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
Some of these teams, another team that really didn't quite participate to the level we were hoping for was HeadHunterr. Now they won't be playing today. Just Survive. They had 1 near chicken dinner, but apart from that, almost in last place. And this is why you see them in the 20th position, because most of those placement points, the 26 they have, and the 10 frags, almost all of those come from the 1 2nd place finish they had on Erangel yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, 22 points from 1 game, plus all the rest, it really doesn't say much. If you have a look at the fact they got 22 points from 1 game in placements, that means they only got 4 other placement points throughout the other 3 games, which is really bad. But they did get 10 kills, so I'll give them that. But let's have a look at Vikendi. So we are going to be going up and across Dino Park. Hopefully they don't get attacked whilst flying above.
Excited.
And obviously above Rhino as well. I'm sure we might see a couple of people drop out there and take a couple of drinks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We have seen a couple people drop in the water a few times. Now, yesterday we had some interesting performances on those maps, but I do want to go back to the compare and contrast we talked about in the groups, Tom, because two teams I will absolutely have my eye on will be Arab Madness and SWAT 69. They're so close together, and it feels like a marked difference from what we saw in groups, where AM were a very different type of team. We saw them kind of more play for placement. We saw SWAT 69 really play for clutches, and it feels like they both trended towards each other.
Yeah, and I mean, SWAT 69 at the very first game, they did eventually, they did go for kills, and they did try to get as many frags, but then they calmed down, played for that sort of placement. AM were going more sort of ham, if we remember, over towards Pachinki. They did a lot of damage, and you wanted a Dino Park.
We might get a Dino Park.
This is the closest chance you have to a Dino Park finish. So I want it. Earlier we were having a conversation, and Jurassic Park came up, and the theme tune started getting sung, and that was pretty much what we ended up going for. But you know what? I won't hum it now because this video might get copyrighted. So
yeah, that's probably a good idea, to be honest.
let's have enough like me. But 70, they have dropped down, and they're right next to Volnova, one of the biggest towns in the whole of Vikendi in regards to a bit of a urban area. Seeing a fight there would be brilliant because there's a lot of fights that are possible across the board on top of the actual buildings.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one for sure. So we'll keep an eye on some of the teams we want to focus on as well. I mentioned AM, I mentioned SWAT 69, but also 7 Reef. I think this is where we want to really start it. Hopefully we can get a pan over there in just a little bit. 61 players have loaded into the game, which means only 3 actually didn't quite go in, or maybe got AFK before the start, but that is representing all 16 teams. Here's 7T. These are the guys I want to see right now and see if they can live up to their potential. We saw how good they can be in a clutch. Reef is definitely their man on front, but all their players, Control, Fazad, they've had good standout performances in the past.
Yeah, it's really going to be coming down to if they can actually perform. A team that I want to see perform is actually 46 Loot. We did see them get second place in the first game yesterday, and they did really well. I think they got maybe 8 or 10 kills, which was just insane for them on this map, especially as they haven't really been a standout team, apart from the last day of group stage, where they performed above and beyond. And I think they're one of the teams I want to keep my eye on. But if they do drop off today, then I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
Hard to know where 46 Loot really are, because we've seen them basically just come in guns a-blazing and become gods of breaching, defending, you name it. Vikendi's been the place where it really all started for them when they got their first chicken dinner a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, we also see them just completely dropping early sometimes. So they're a very inconsistent side. And we know they have a lot of potential. And I want to see a little bit more of that early on. It looks like there might be chances for a couple of early fights, but the teams have settled a little bit. Vikendi is one of those places where shenanigans can happen for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in the urban area like Vonova, where 70 are, if they get challenged there, then there's a big chance that they actually fall a bit earlier or lose a couple of members. They have taken fights there before against Team Rush to Crush, where they nearly went out.
I don't know if that's their choice, though, right? Rush to Crush, they tend to be the team that's just like, all right, we're going to fight you, and you have no choice in the matter.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes that is just the way they're going on that front. So, I mean, one of the questions I actually got from TRD was, should they drop in big cities or drive away and find their loot? And sort of to, I guess, translate that from what he said is sort of reflects back to the fact that do you just drop straight from the playing path and then loot? Or do you drop and get a car and then rotate? Well, if we have a look at the performance of the teams yesterday, the teams that tend to sort of rotate away from the playing path have a higher chance of being able to survive in past the first couple of circles. And as soon as that happens, you then get better points.
But some of the hot drops are happening right now with 963 looking to engage onto SWAT 69, and I do feel like this is a very lopsided matchup. You're already seeing as Naya is going to be dropped by Moha here, and it's just unfortunate. 963, they opt into these fights so often, but they're always ill-advised. They just don't seem to have the positioning down.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at this, the verticality is on the SWAT 69 side, and also the guns, the armor, and the positioning.
Down. That is a start, but you're right. It just seems like they can't quite get it together 100% of the way. And Ray will get dropped by a boot, so maybe things are starting to turn. The turntables, you might say. Z8R8 going to try to make moves in here. Moha's still up as well. He looks for the finish. So you can see SWAT 69 do have 2 dropped members, 2 downed members, but they can just deal with BCL. They should be able to get them. And it looks like that's going to be the first elimination. 963 out and last. And, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, in that situation, 963, once they realized they're pretty much in a bad situation, should have walked away from that one. I think 2 of the members didn't even have body armor. At that point, you can be gunned down so easily. And then they had Tommy guns, which, to be fair, if they're going to be used, it should be at that point, because there's a bit of desperation and also the potential of the opposition not having the body armor. But unfortunately, the opposition did and had better guns and armor. So it was a bit of an unfortunate situation.
So it does seem like maybe in the sense of if you do get the early position, when you do drop out of the plane path and get the loot up fast, then you can opt into some of those fights as long as you know you can win it, right?
Yeah, but that just comes down to a big gamble because you don't know if someone else is going to hot drop there. At this point in time in the competitive scene of PUBG Mobile, we may see it later on in past the regional finals, where all these teams actually recognize where these teams tend to drop, and they avoid that. That's what we saw develop in the PC meta. And I know a lot of people are like, you're always talking about PC desktop version, but there's a reason for that. It's because there's a lot of reflection from the competitive scene that's happening in PUBG Mobile as to what's happening on the PC.
So checking back in with SWAT 6-9, they do manage to get that full team wipe, and this really does contribute to some of the things that we see in the numbers when you look at this team. They definitely go for a lot of kills early. They manage to, kind of like TRD, keep a lot of their members up, not getting down too much since they cover their bases, but they average 9.5 kills per game. Like, that is insane. That's 2.5 teams worth of frags that they get on average.
Yeah, I mean, when you're able to get that many kills and you can breach like they can, you have to be a little bit worried as to how they've been performing in some of their games, because they've fallen off a little bit earlier a couple of times. So I think they're a little bit unstable in some of their decision making. So I think that might come down to them doing a little bit of training and then thought processes with the IGL.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but at the same time, they definitely are still up on the points, so trying to make that even further here. With 15 teams still left up, we normally see a handful of those hot drops, but today it's only been the one. And that's interesting. And do you think that maybe is a testament to the teams kind of learning a little bit more about each other, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything to go off the fact that TRD and a couple of other teams I do know have sort of taken notice of our commentary of what we've talked about and also what's happening in the other regions. I mean, obviously, this is all going up on YouTube, and it can be seen from there. If you want to go find out how other teams are playing, you need to go watch other VODs. If they're not doing VOD reviews as a team, they're not taking this seriously, and they don't actually deserve to go forward, in my opinion. Because
good point.
You need to take this seriously. It's for $2.5 million. This is a life-changing opportunity.
Yeah, and you know, if you do want to catch some of those highlights and the information on the game itself, you can, of course, go to our YouTube channel. We'll have a call out to it a little bit later in the day, but it is youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports. Got to smash that subscription button, and as Tom always likes to say,
ding dong that notification bell.
100% of the time.
Boom.
So, SWAT 6-9, they are moving in right now, and it looks like it is in onto UN. We see Master covering the door with some flames.
That was actually a smart play.
Yeah, I saw this in Game of Thrones once.
Oh, yikes. Not even watch that side, I don't know. Now you've just made like everyone hate me because I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, you kind of outed yourself there, man.
Yeah,
but what if I told you you could watch it at any time?
On YouTube.
Yeah, maybe not, but Moha is going to get dropped down in the breach here. Grows and turns around onto Master, but this is a very hectic fight right now, and SWAT 6-9 are going in guns a-blazing as Hunter is outside the house. And they only have 3 load in, it looks like, but they might still be able to get one. No, that is going to be it. UN get dropped, but once again, SWAT 6-9, they go in very aggressive, very confident, get another squad wipe. That's 7 total kills.
There's actually going to be another 3 fights going on, technically 2 in 1 space, and it's going to be MBZ against KS and also LND.
So LND look like they get the better of MBZ, and that's unfortunate for the MBZ Falcons side. They seem to be pretty good at like kind of playing the map in a lot of situations, but it just didn't quite work out for them this time around. And now KS are coming sniffing as well, but it is looking like all of LND are healthy, but how long is that going to be with the Molotov coming up through the window?
Yeah, they're trying to burn them down, trying to blow down the building and really scare out the little piggies here, but it'll be difficult if they can actually do that. But let's see. Grenade goes out.
Kraken on the breach here. Man, they just keep on chucking the fire. And it looks like they've already gotten King down. Kraken opening up here as he tries to get the peek. Not quite finding the shot. The rest of the members of L&D are scattering Kraken. He gets taken down to half his health bar, but he does manage to stay on his feet.
Yeah, he actually managed to get out of there, which was a very close sort of situation for him. If they have another nade, that'd be brilliant, but it doesn't look like they do.
Smokes down for L&D. Let's see if the crowd favorites can come up with this one. That's another Molotov. L&D are in trouble. The house is burning down, and there's no way out. Faker getting dropped down by Ahmed.
What's he shooting at? But they're going to get burnt alive if they're not careful. That's another one. Faker, the best player down.
This is a great breach right now for Kurd Squad. Let's see if they can get it even further. Kraken down to 1 health bar, or 1 health tick, I should say. It looks like L&D will finally get cleaned up. No, it's going to be Ahmed getting dropped down. KS only had 2 members. That means Kraken's the last man standing here, but they do get the elimination onto L&D, and some very, very close breach play.
That was so close coming out from them. If they didn't have Kraken saving them there, they would have been dead and out for the count.
They're in with 3 players. KS have just done that 3v4.
Yeah, I mean, just gives testament to the fact that they are trying to make it all the way to the top and just stay there. As one of the fan favorites, I'm happy to see that because it gives obviously an interesting storyline and the fans can give something to cheer, but we'll have to see what they do there. So we've got 48 people left alive, 13 teams. So 3 teams haven't died because obviously in the semifinals here, we are seeing all 16 teams drop into the map.
Yep. Now, Kurd Squad definitely will be a team I want to keep my eyes on over the course of today, but another one, you mentioned it, 46 Loot. They're now facing down up against the RBK members across the way. And I'm actually kind of surprised that we've had the action consistently over the last 10 minutes. There's been one fight maybe every couple of minutes, whereas before what we've seen is maybe 2 or 3 teams get into the hot drop situation, then everybody leaves everybody alone. Maybe it's just because Vikendi is, a little bit smaller than some of the other maps. What do you think, Tom?
I think it's the spread of players. They have slightly changed how they play. And it just seems like a couple of lower teams have been bumping heads. But Circle is going to be closing in. Is Dino Park going to be an option?
It's still in there, but it would require a hard shift. Castle as well. This is honestly a mirror of yesterday, Tom.
It pretty much is. So it's actually quite a fair one here. And it does actually encompass most of the teams and doesn't require too much of a fight, apart from KS, MBZ, maybe SWAT 69 bumping heads as we go forward, as well as 46 Loot, but they don't really have to move anywhere. Nah. There is also LP and also Nox on the
check in
eastern side.
On AM, because we haven't seen them. They've got a care package drop not too far from them. We wanted to compare and contrast what they do against SWAT 69, and we can already see, well, you can see the fact that there's already been 2 breach plays by SWAT 69. They go in. This is why they have SWAT in their names. They just like to break down the door. But,
SWAT, open up.
Yeah, but Arab Madness, the madness doesn't really come out until the end of the game. We don't see them going for those big aggressive plays all the time. They are playing a little bit more for positioning, and you got to wonder if, maybe it's a confidence thing or maybe it just is intelligent play from, let's not take these fights early on when I know everyone else is butting heads.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much how they have played throughout the tournament, but I just don't think they've always been as successful in their aggression. So I think they've sort of learned that they need to be a little bit more careful in what fights they take. Because if you have a look back at Pachinki, they may have they butted heads a lot with TRD, and I think from that they've realized, okay, there are actually some decent fraggers in this. We can take shots and we can take fights, but let's not get stuck. And
they were one of the few teams that actually lived to tell the tale of facing down against TRD when they were completely dominating the group stage. So yeah, AM definitely coming up pretty big. We did see what they did on Erangel yesterday. I think B52 and Butcher deserve a huge shout out for their monster performances, especially when it was just down to 2 players. I want to see what AM can definitely do as the game goes on, but I think we will see a little bit more going forward. Now MBZ Falcons, they are down to 2 players. Looks like here we'll check back in with SWAT 69. They found a nice little quiet compound, but man, they really started this game off hot. 7 kills for the team and 2 squads eliminated in their wake.
I want to see what B52 can do, just to throw it back to AM. We saw him with the sniper yesterday. He got a shot through a bathroom window, I think it was. Actually, it was a kitchen window, but it was a tiny,
that was beautiful,
slit.
Though.
It was insane. It was really well played, and it's actually probably the best shot I've seen with the sniper so far. We also did see in the group stage the shot from onto Palestine, I think, from one.
Yeah, it was over at Ruins, right?
Yeah, I think it was from maybe even Lashin, actually.
Yeah, it was Lashin.
I think it was Lashin who took the shot with the AWM, and it was really nice, but nothing like B52 because it was pretty much sending it through a tiny window. So I want to see some more of that action. Sniper shots on this are a little bit more rare. We don't tend to see too many headshots on this. I think 3 is the max we've seen on a single player. Yeah. Maybe 4, but not that I remember. Not on any of the teams that we've had head-to-head. So we'll see. SWAT 69, though. I want to throw it back to them. Ray, he has been one of our top performers in the past. He did actually go down earlier, though.
Yeah, interestingly enough, he did get downed in that fight with 963. It was a little bit chaotic, but they got him back on his feet once again. Of course, 7T we can see here. But before we move over to them, I do want to talk about where Ray made his name, because it was all in that first Miramar match that we saw them. They actually didn't even load in to the first map, which was Vikendi. They then come in out of nowhere. We're not sure what to expect from these guys. They're using the same 69 clan tag as 69 SWAT, now renamed to SNT. That's, of course, Lashin and Co. And they end up getting into a shootout on Miramar. The final 2 players, it's Lashin and Ray wins it. And we already knew that Lashin was legit because of what he'd done throughout the course of the map. But that's what put SWAT 69's name on the map. And speaking of, we're going to check back in with this one. We will see where the next circle will go, and it keeps narrowing down. And, oh, that Dino Park, there's just a tiny bit of it, but no one's going there. It's probably going to be a Villa circle.
Yeah, I mean, it's most likely Villa or just below it on top of SWAT 69. Or it could hard shift over towards Dino Park area. These are all opportunities. Maybe even Castle. I mean, you hope and pray that Castle is
I'm not going to say it, because if I say it, I'm going to jinx it.
Well, I just did, so.
Yeah, well, no, but you don't have this power of jinxing things by hoping for them. This is me, you know. This is why when I cheered for Liverpool today and I was like, I'm hoping they're going to win the Premier League, and then Man City. Spoilers.
To talk about people with strange powers, there's no Thanos in Snap today.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So Snap have actually made a little bit of a change up, and now they're one of the teams that we wanted to keep our eyes on as like not necessarily a bubble team, but a team that sometimes performs beyond the measure that we assign to them. They have a little bit of fun. They have a little bit of light pirates in them where they'll do a little dance when they're just kind of chilling out in the open. Maybe it one's down to one player. But they've also had occasional standout performances from the likes of Thanos, from Sniper, Sniper Cubed, if you will, the guy that has the Chinese characters in his name.
There's actually a drop here, so Nox are going to get a nice present delivered to them. It literally fell as they drove by, so they managed to pick it up. Easy AUG. The spray on this at the moment is pretty decent. It's got 4 times in that package as well, which is pretty rare to find in a package, so really nice for them. Meanwhile, Dancing Pirates, aka Light Pirates, trying to make this rotation, and this is something they're just kind of what I expect from these guys. It's this late rotation, playing
They avoid everybody. Ooh, speaking of avoiding, I think Nox maybe should have not moved in onto 46 loot. That's one car they're in. And Nox are the one team that we thought about ahead of today that we wanted to talk and we haven't really gotten into yet. They are an insanely good breaching squad. They have incredible tactics, and they know when to back away. They really do. But that was uncharacteristically silly.
But I think that plays into actually what you just said, is the fact that they're a smart way to back away from fights. They didn't know if that compound was taken or not. They know that they've got people in one car. They got shot at. They drove away. Instead of what most of the other teams would do, okay, they have actually got 2 cars, but they weren't together close enough, so I think that's what caused that. So they have actually moved away, which was a smart play. And we saw it on the first day of the semifinals as well. They were trying to fight 7T, who was stuck in top of a building. Instead of pushing in there against these guys, they were spread out, and they had it locked down. They could have stayed longer, but the blue was coming. They knew it. They wanted to get inside the circle, so they backed away from that fight, repositioned, and got a fantastic score in the end, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And speaking of 7T, actually, like, what are your expectations personally? Because I know where I want to see what I want to see from this team, but 7T, they kind of had a couple of performances where they made it into like the top 5, top 6, and we thought, okay, maybe this team can definitely deliver. But we haven't really seen that much more, and it's only been 4 games. What are your expectations for these 4 today? I
don't think we're going to be seeing much of them on the first 2 maps. I think Erangel, again, is where they'll probably end up performing a little bit better. I do know they did do decently well in Vikendi on their first day, but I just don't really know that this really suits their play style, and I don't think they know it well enough. So I think Erangel.
They like the big open area clutches, right? It does seem like compound to compound, not necessarily their style.
Yeah, and I mean, Vikendi's a very odd one. We're still getting used to it, I think, as obviously commentators, but also players still trying to work out how to play it. And talk about being able to work out how to play it, we do see Nox finally find their own place on this map.
Isn't it great when you find your own forever home until the circle closes and then you got to find a new one?
Exactly, yeah. And talking of which, map is going to be closing in.
Okay, moment of truth here. Let's see if we get any of those hard shifts. So far, it's just been circling in on the center. That's certainly what KA are keeping an eye of. You can see Muhammad there right in the middle. And it looks like we might still have a chance for Castle. That would be a real hard shift, but there's a lot of teams that are going to be needing to get into the center. LPI are going to be doing just that right about now. And this is where it gets a little shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, this is where we're going to be seeing a lot more of these fights where a lot of people are going to drop off. I expect we could go down to even sort of 10 teams in this, because we've still got a bunch of teams alive right now, 13 in total. So maybe even less, maybe 9 or so.
Hasn't been a shot fired in 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a little bit calm, guys.
But this is like the calm before the storm. That's the thing. There were like 3 fights just to narrow out a couple of the teams that we really didn't expect much of. But like, definitely keep your eyes on 7T here. Keep your eyes on AM. Keep your eyes on SWAT 69. And they are going to be the ones to fire that first shot. SWAT 69 are very aggressive.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully we do see a little bit more aggression coming out from 7T and also Snap. We talked about them a little bit. Not going to go into too much, but there are now shots coming out. It's going to be SWAT 69 going after
KS.
Squad.
Man, they managed to kill Kraken already. That's going to be Groza here, and this is really unfortunate for the Iraqi crowd favorites. Kurd Squad in some trouble. You can see Ahmed and Ari have already driven away, so down to 2 players. They will probably go for that placement play.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point trying to fight them at that point. You're just asking for trouble, but unfortunately...
Speaking of asking for trouble, JS roll right up on 46 Loot's territory, and they wish they hadn't. Only 3 members on their side as well. Atez does manage to make it inside this compound. Moomin blows his teammate Rip away. Mehmet's going to drop as well. And this is the 46 Loot we were hoping to see.
And what was really good about this is that instead of just sitting in one building like we saw them do yesterday, they actually spread out across all these 3 buildings and compounds, and they're able to take these guys on as they pushed in. There is MEA. Hopefully we see a little bit more from them today. We didn't really see too much from them on the first day. It was a little bit disappointing, but I expect they could do a lot better now.
I think you're definitely right. They showed that they have potential over the course of the group stages. We kind of saw them a little up and down, and then that last day where they had to make up a lot of points to make it into the top 24, they just dominated. Double chicken dinners. We were thinking they might even get a third. Nobody in this region has actually managed to pull that off, and they got, honestly, the closest. So we know that they can certainly clutch it out. Especially, I really want to give some shout-outs to Falcons because he's definitely one of the guys that can do it, even though he was the recipient of that crazy headshot we mentioned earlier. Yeah, him and I think Wasim were really the standout players in my mind. Not anything against Guns and Abbas, though.
I think Guns has actually got the highest kill frag ratio for them. If I remember correctly, he's managed to land about 8 kills just by himself. And that circle does shift up away from Castle, and it's actually going to be in a big open area. But although it looks like it's open, there is a bit of quite a few dips, a couple of houses, and some packages.
This reminds me a little bit of what we saw, I think was one of our first Vikendis, where we had that like crazy cliffside end battle. Can't remember the teams involved in it, but I feel like this might favor 7 Reef team because, as we mentioned, they may not really like the compound play. There's a lot of open areas for them to set up shop. Yeah,
I mean, if they get into the right position, it'd be great, but unfortunately they have to rotate to this circle, so it does mean that they might end up facing a little bit of firefights, and 46 loot there we do actually see sitting inside the building, so they're going to be sitting nice and tight. Meanwhile, also AM, who we haven't talked about in a while, are sitting nice and quiet inside this compound across 2 buildings, plus B52 sitting out on the outside wall.
I like the split from them.
I like that kind of play. It does allow them sort of maneuverability, and if people push them, they have multiple layers of defense.
We'll check in with the Light Pirates here. It'll be interesting to see if they try to fight it out, if anyone tries to get into their compound, or if they end up ceding ground once again. Because that is one of the things that Light Pirates do, is that they will often back away as a first priority. But if they think they can take the fight, then things change a little bit here. Taking a look at RBK, kind of on the outskirts, on the edge here, seeing if they can get any shots off themselves. It looks like 69 SWAT, SWAT 69 rather, have rolled up onto AM, and this is going to be interesting. The 2 Saudi squads facing off against one another. B52 takes a bit of damage. You can see Sniper getting dropped down by Molotov, and there's even a third party here at Snap Come In.
Yeah, Molotov's going to be doing the work by himself. We talked about AM, we talked about SWAT 69, and it seems like SWAT 69 might be going out very early.
This is actually massive right now for AM to get the outplays here, and you can see Seif. He knew that Molotov didn't have eyes on him right now, but this is even some of the odds up here. However, Groza are going to be the last man standing for SWAT 69, and that means, no, excuse me, ZBRT is still up. It's a 2-on-3, but one of the members is down.
Might be able to pick him up, but Molotov obviously down, obviously on AM. That is not so good for them. Snap, in the meantime, have recovered. On an overview of this, they've now split into their own buildings, and we might see a little bit of a calm before the storm once again as they realize this is not worth their time. But there's going to be another couple of teams pushing in.
Nox are snaking into the blue, man. I love this. Just trying to be as quiet as they can.
Look who's right next to them.
You can see MBZ, RBK over the hill as well. Very quiet, as you like. You can see LPI lost a lot of members in that last engage. We didn't see the action. It looks like Hama will eventually die to Kurd Squad's Ari. So that is not the full elimination just yet, but we're going to see a little bit more of it soon enough.
That was a wipe. Someone
yeah, it's MBZ.
Yeah,
they can take it off the map.
I'm not too surprised by that. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. The map was just a little bit like that. So MBZ going to be wiped out from this one, and then we're going to be seeing RBK coming under fire from 46 Loot.
46 Loot are lighting it up right now. 100%, man. This is the 46 Loot we wanted to see. They certainly took a power up before the start of this one. Now we are checking back in with this fight. It's a 3-on-2-on-3. S&P come in with the third party, disrupt the fight between the 2 Saudi sides. And now this is going to get a little spicy.
Spicy is the name of it, but we might be seeing RBK do the killo. But 7T losing a member.
Man.
He's not out.
He's not out, but he's dropped down. That was a single shot fired.
Yeah, that was a headshot as well with the M16. So
good one by Wasim. This is why I wanted to call him out.
Yeah. He's done pretty good.
Or shout him out, rather.
Yeah. This is a little bit tight here. Obviously, we've got sort of a 2 versus 3 versus 4 situation here. The Snap with the guy with the sort of the
KA are coming up too. This might get really chaotic in a bit.
Light Pirates, so they're not going to have a good time against MEA.
Now Guns, he's going to get a Ross down. It's just superior firepower, superior tactics. LPI, they just seem a little lost in some of these fights. They do try, but they're just not as good, and they don't have the great positioning right now, so it does mean that Issa is going to get dropped out, taken out by Guns. Still, Light Pirates have a couple of members remaining, but for how long, well, that remains to be seen.
I mean, Light Pirates are currently under fire from MEA, 7T, and also RBK, if I can see that correctly.
It's like fish in a barrel, but there's 3 people pointing their guns at him. Koro's going to drop down. That's the elimination. Light Pirates are out in 11th.
Disappointing results from them once again, and in the meantime, we see KA actually get a knock onto Kurd Squad. Big surprise, and remember, there's only 2 members of KS right now.
Yeah, it's going to be Butcher even trying to finish it off, which means Kurd Squad, they only have a med up, and he's down to half health. He's going to have to try and play hide and go seek here.
He better go hide because 10th place is not a place you want to go out in. So few points, and I don't.
Uh-oh. Shotswire. Yeah. I feel like it might be just a little too easy. Shotswire does get downed, and look at that from a boss. He's managing to knock everybody from SMP outside the car, taking him out in 10th place. What a run for the MEA.
Well, MEA back in action. I called them out. I needed to see some plays coming out from them, and they've done exactly that, getting a bunch of kills and a wipe onto a team. So 9 teams left live, and Ahmed actually kills the KA member, and he manages to stay alive somehow, clutch in that situation.
This is huge. Huge for Kurd Squad right now. They need positioning points. They're doing well, but they need to be a little bit more. And as I say it, Z8R8. He gets the down. It looks like that will be the elimination here. Kurd Squad out in 9th.
And so the circle is going to be tightening up, pushing these teams together. AM chucking a couple of smokes over towards Nox. Not quite the nade they wanted, but it will do for now.
Nox have had a very quiet game here, but they are masters of coming in and cleaning things up. Mohammed is going to drop down by a boss as the MEA fight continues off the opposite side. Looks like Loss is going to be the next to fall, and that's the elimination. KA, honestly, I'm impressed they made it this far. They're a team that usually doesn't do too well in chaotic firefights. Now we will see the players remaining alive. SWAT69 still have 2, RBK still have 3, so do the EAM. Everybody else is fully squatted up.
40 squatted, but how many nades and how many meds do they have? 70 in a
We don't have enough room to show all that, Tom.
70 actually have a massive advantage here. They've actually got the only compound in this last
Kind of ironic considering we said they don't really like compounds. Maybe we were wrong about that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'll take that one.
When you've got it, you got to use it, and that's exactly what they're trying to do against MEA right now. But they
MEA
have to be
made
careful.
their own compound.
Yeah, I mean, you know, cart forts, it's like pillow forts, but a lot more mechanical.
Yeah, and they can move a little bit easier. Have you tried to dislodge a pillow fort, man?
Yeah,
It just collapses.
Just everywhere, mate. Blanket and pillow forts.
Yeah, I know. It's oh so comfortable, though. Now, for AM, they found a nice little bit of soft cover here on the ridge, but this is going to be a really interesting end to it because it is a lot of uneven territory. Hazem is going to get Wasim dropped down. 46 Loot really coming up with a lot of kills right now. I can't wait to see how they do overall. Moomin, though, he gets turned on by a boss from the MEA side, and Reef is even taking pot shots outside the window.
Yeah, he wants to try and knock down these guys, and he does it as well. Hazem going down.
Boom, onto Hazem. Nicely played by 7T's clutch player Reef. He's looking for even more, and I don't think 46 Loot knew what hit him.
18 seconds until the circle pushes in, and this is going to be pushing a lot of teams together. AM having to run out in the open amongst many others. Even Nox aren't safe here.
Yeah, they've barely been touched, though. That's the crazy thing with all of the shots firing overhead. Only Galiko has any damage to show for it.
Yeah,
46 Loot.
I think one of them was Nox. He is going to get picked up here, but they have to be careful. They know that Nox are up here. But Nox are under fire at the moment from RBK.
Yeah, Falcons is going to get down by B52 on the opposite side. Guns getting taken out of the picture as well, and that's really trouble here for MEA. Guns will get eliminated, and that is going to be a 7th place finish here for the Middle East Assassins.
That's actually a really good placement for them, and I'm fairly certain they must have got at least 8 kills between them. Nonetheless, Nox going to be doing damage here on AM.
Yeah, but they're getting turned on as well, and 46 Loot are in the picture. This is going to be a little tough for Nox as they're kind of caught in the middle of all the action. B52 is just spraying across the way, but he's going to get dropped down and eliminated there by Oraluz. That means AM are going to try to open some more fire. Morsey getting dropped by Butcher, and it's just all-out warfare between the last 6 teams remaining here. Galiko taken out as well. The play zone actually is what ends up finishing Alush as he was down on his hands and knees. The rest of 46 Loot going to try to breach in onto 7T, but it won't be easy.
That nade, though, coming out. Will it land? Reef.
Oh, he got Fazza! That's a great down right there, and it looks like AM is only Butcher remaining to try and keep his team's hopes alive inside the smoke. He does manage to get one of the Nox members. Meanwhile, we're right back into it. Morsey's going to get dropped down. That's a 5th place finish for Nox. Excuse me, a 4th place finish for Nox.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing another one going down insane. So 46 Loot, a little bit danger here.
They might be the ones in 4th. Yeah, that's 46 Loot are out. So I think Nox actually ended up getting the 5th place position. A little bit delay on the kill feed there, excuse us.
Yep.
However, 46 Loot delivered where it counted, but now it's all down to this. 3 teams, 7 Reef, RBK.
So if you have a look at the map, if you have a look at the mini-map here, 7T have the full advantage. They have a compound. They have the whole side of the road to themselves. Meanwhile, AM, RBK, they're going to be bumping heads here, and a little bit more than that. In the moment, they're going to have guns that are going to be shooting at each other. And unfortunately, I think RBK are in a better position, but 7T could change all that.
Yeah, also Butcher is kind of the wild card here because he knows RBK are here, and they don't know he's there. And he opens up. That's going to be one down. Let's see if he can get another full elimination, actually. Then he's taken out by RBK. So all of a sudden, this just makes 7T put into an amazing position. They fan out immediately. It's a 4-on-2. Reef is going to open up behind this tree. And I think this has got to go for 7 Reef team, unless RBK can pull off the clutch like they did on Miramar yesterday.
Yeah, they now know where these players are, and they're spreading wide across this circle. RBK trying to get inside the circle, but they now have their positions logged on these guys from 7T who are doing a fantastic performance here right now. Are they going to be able to bring this out? This next circle is going to be the real question. They don't have the height advantage, but they do have the number advantage.
Yeah, Molotovs are going to be out here at the moment, trying to flush them away. That was really close
That
to the
got
rock.
him.
In fact, it actually managed to hit one of the RBK members, and he's just trying to bandage up through it all here, but 7T are coming, and they are 4 members strong. This is looking more like a TRD side.
And look how close that circle is.
Reef's down.
There's a member.
Control's going to have to get him up here. This is meaning this one side's not going to be able to do much, but that is one other down, so there's only one healthy RBK member left.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly obvious where this one's going to go.
Oh, and that's it. 7T. First place, chicken dinner finish. Not too bad, all things considered, for the start of that 4-map series today. Tom, I think we got an answer to one of our questions.
What is that question?
The question is, are 7T as good as their group performance? And I think that game definitely shows us some evidence for the yes.
Definitely. I mean, especially being able to pick up 7 kills on it, ironically.
Yeah.
And also their first place is going to land them their 37 points. It's not a crazy amount of kills. We've obviously seen them do over double that in a single
Mostly
game.
in Reef, for sure.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the other teams perform here in regards to kills, which we will see as we go on into the next bit. But what a fantastic game coming out from these guys on the first map of the 3rd day and the final day of the first week of the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, after this, the teams will have a chance to kind of rest, relax, go back to the drawing board, hopefully, you know, get all those practice sessions in, waiting for the final 3, because remember, only the top 16 teams will make it to the regional finals to try and fight it out for that one spot at the global finals to get a shot at that $2.5 million prize pool. So you really got to become the best of the best to make it happen. And a lot of teams are really putting their names in for it. I want to shout out again to Arab Madness. They get into the top 3 position. Good job by Butcher surviving. We'll take a look at our highlight reel as it goes. It all started with 963 picking a fight with SWAT 69 that they could not win.
Yeah, and then we move on to SWAT 69. He managed to wipe the floor with these guys. It was just too easy for them against UN in the end. And I say too easy. It was close, but they managed to pick it up. And then there was a bit of a 3-way here, and unfortunately for the MBZ members, they did end up dying. But then the push came in from the KS members onto the LND, and it was just a clean wipe, although KS did walk away with only 2 members out of the 3 they had.
LND do sometimes feel like a bit of a coin flip. I loved this here from Snap. They just come in and third-party the heck out of that fight, starting to turn the tables a little bit on. You can see MEA come in. They get some good shots. Light Pirates, they just didn't know what hit them. You can call them the lit-up Pirates, to be honest. I know. That was not as good as the dramatic pause was making it. But this is where Snap gets dropped by MEA. Couldn't quite keep up to it. KA lasted into that top 10 position just by avoiding a lot of people.
Yeah, unfortunately for Snap, though, they just couldn't make it past them. And then Reef, he did a sort of start off his action here. They only had 1 kill at this point. They ended up with 7. So you can say they actually got a lot of the kills here at the end. The sort of dominant amount, I think, across the teams, as there was only 19 left alive here.
And here was some of the chaos of the fights. B52 facing off against Orluz from Nox there, and it was just Orluz who got the slight edge. Here's where 46 Loot ended up kind of meeting their match in the 17 members, trying to go in on a breach. RBK, Butcher, managing to take one of their number down, and this opens up the 7T victory. We will take a look at AM versus SWAT 69. These are the 2 Saudi squads. And you can see playing for position does tend to net you a few more points.
Yeah, a few more points and also almost 1,000 more damage and 1 extra kill. I mean, that's crazy. For 1 extra kill, they did almost 1,000 extra damage.
Yeah,
but
AM got them all at the end, though. That was the thing.
Yeah. I mean, and they did get a bunch more kills than SWAT 69 as well. So I have to give AM praise for that and like double the standards on that. So GG well played on that front. So impressive from AM. I do expect a little bit more from them moving forward, but from Quiet against Samoa, you can see it was fairly equal.
Yeah, I think these were the 2 players that maybe not the biggest standouts on their team, but got the job done. And if these guys are the ones that are the worst on their team, then everybody else is doing solid. Now, Molotov, I guess we have to take that back because he didn't really get a whole lot done himself. I'm a little surprised by that because it did look like the team was moving together. Ray, usually the standout player for SWAT 69, this time he performed admirably, but Groza outshone him.
Oh, look at Butcher, though. He chimes in with 1,000 damage by himself. That's where that
he was the last man
damage
standing.
came from. Yeah. So, yeah, I managed to collect 5 kills and 1,000 damage. Really good for them. And then
Dabby
we move
wasn't
on to the next one. Brilliant from those guys. Let's move on, though. Really good overview from those guys. And you know what? Fantastic plays from all the teams so far. I'm happily surprised to see 7T come out with a chicken dinner and also play from that compound spread out. As soon as they realized the firefight was happening on the other side of the road, they used that break, or that sort of break in the lull, to be able to then move out, use that as sort of distraction as an advantage. and then ended up winning.
Right, and you were mentioning that you didn't think they were going to show their full power until we get to Erangel. So if that is not their full power, Tom, are we in for like a quadruple chicken dinner day? Is that what you think is going to happen?
I hope so. That's what I want to see. That really brings the spiciness, and the fact is that they can do that. But will they? That's going to be the question. Can they deliver?
Now, we have been talking a lot about 17. If you want to know more about how they got to this point, you can, of course, check all the results in the past over at our website, over at clubopen.pubgmobile.com. All that information is there, including up-to-date standings, so you can check out who is in the lead for this top 16 finish. And in addition to that, we, of course, have our YouTube channel. We can find all of the VODs, highlights, info, and more. It is over at youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. Don't forget to smash that subscription button. And as Tom always says,
ding dong, that notification bell.
Never get tired of hearing that one. Absolutely. It's a good thing for sure, so make sure you guys are on that channel all the time for all the games, not just for MEA, but for all the regions here at the PUBG Mobile Club Open, because it truly is a global competition. We have players from all over the world vying to be in that top 16 finish. The global finals happening later this year. Man, I can't wait to see who it is. Honestly, I feel like TRD is still going to take it, but we'll have to find out after this. Maybe 7T can upset the apple cart even further, but we got to go on a short break. When we return, more of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Hey everybody, welcome back once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. I am still Pyrotechnics. He is still Tom Pickering. I'm back to my normal pronunciation, but of course he is better known as Wee Freeman. How you doing, man?
Very nice.
Yes, you like. It's good.
I like
All right.
much.
You know what else I like? We're going on to Sanhok for game number 2. It is going to be tight corners. It is going to be a lot of action. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath, which of course I can very easily predict because in the end, there can only be one team alive. So clearly, teams have to kill each other. That's kind of how that works. That's how PUBG Mobile works.
You kind of have good odds there, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, if they killed themselves to the blue, then you're wrong. But
I mean, it's still a lot of kills. It's just a lot of less exciting kills.
yeah, I mean, they're not killing each other. But yeah, I mean, you kind of can't not fight
That would
each
be
other.
so weird if everybody just runs off into the blue. That would make no sense. It would
Yeah,
my brain would just explode. It would happen. But let's take a look at the standings here. After our first game of day 3 in the in the playoffs, I should say, we see that Arab Madness moving up the standings a little bit more, separating it out from SWAT 6-9 based on better placement. And we talked about compare and contrast, but look at that, man, 48 frags apiece.
Ridiculous. They managed to catch up on kills on each other. Stayed stable on that, but they are 10 points between each other, and they've only got 5 games, so they're so close to the real deal.
And S&T, too. I mean, they really could pass up into the first spot right now.
Yeah, and I mean, the TRD didn't perform fantastically on their first day, so I'm not too surprised that they're able to creep up on them, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you also look at Kurd Squad down there in 7th place, only 5 points off of 7 Reef Team, the chicken dinner winners. And I think with the crowd favorites, they could certainly make a play up the top 5 of the standings. I would not be too surprised to see it, kind of asserting their dominance.
And RBK right at the bottom there, but they are on 8th spot.
They were 2nd place, right?
Yeah,
I mean, these guys always manage to last longer than anybody expects them to.
Yeah, they've managed to get second place, and also joint 7th place, with Kurd Squad. But moving on, we do see sort of IK here, who played yesterday. Don't really talk about him too much. Same with Executor, but 46 loot. They did decently well, but unfortunately got trapped in a compound that they stuck to for a little bit too long, and they got punished by, I think it was MEA. So we'll have to see what they do from that situation. And then we move down to someone like Nox, for example, in MBZ Falcons. Nox did fairly well. They got a decent positioning, and they got a few kills, but they didn't do incredibly. MBZ Falcons, they
were all right. They kind of got lit up early, and they were down to 2 members. I don't know. It was a weird game from the Falcons because I kind of expected a little bit more in terms of them moving across the map, finding good compounds, because that's what we've come to know them for. Like, they tend to not get a lot of favor with the circle. They usually drop outside or towards the edge of it. They spend a lot of their game running or at least finding a vehicles, but they somehow always stay safe. This game, complete outlier. They get lit up early. They have to find a nice hidey hole. They do last into, I don't know, about 12th place, but they could have done a lot better. Some of the other teams we want to keep an eye on, though, ME Assassins. They did drop out in about 7th place, but we did start to see some of that potential that we were talking about, expecting to see from them going forward. And then, of course, Light Pirates really didn't know it hit them, but they still have some points banked, so they're in 18th place for now. On the bubble of those 16 teams, everybody else below them going to have to jump it up.
Yeah, I mean, United Nations definitely could have done a lot better than that game, but they got punished heavily for their unfortunate play. But we could see what they can do into this one. Snap, they haven't got Thanos today, so maybe that's going to affect their gameplay today. They may not be able to play as well.
Guess someone went for the head finally.
Exactly, yeah. We'll have to see that. And maybe he's actually playing in the next game. We could see him do that.
We could see some swap-ins for sure. Other teams I want to see a little bit more from. Obviously, Just Survive had another one of those rounds where you just see them early on out, and we know they have potential to get to the end. We saw them on a 2nd place finish on Erangel yesterday. Honestly, maybe that's a blip on the radar, but I think there's definitely still a chance for the team to go through. However, I still want to keep my eyes on AM and SWAT 6-9 because they are honestly, outside of 7 Reef, they're the most interesting teams in these 2 groups.
Definitely. I mean, when it comes to these sort of teams being interesting, it's not just about what the fans want, but it's also what the fans get from the spectacles that come out of these plays. And if they're able to actually do these clutch plays, we saw obviously Reef from 7T do a fantastic play. Kurd Squad, they've not had anything incredible like that before, but we could still see them do that, especially with their performance.
3 players, too. That's the other thing. They only had 3 load in, and they actually had still a pretty stellar performance for them. I want to see what they can do actually with 4 all loaded in. Obviously, a little unfortunate. Maybe one of the players just wasn't quite ready up in time for when the drop happened. But for Kurd Squad, they do have fan backing. They do get a lot of love over on the stream. We see people talking about them all the time, just putting little hearts in. So thank you guys for doing that, for supporting your favorites. But for Kurd Squad, yeah, I think there are a couple of stand-up players. Ari was the one for me that I saw a lot in that last round.
Yeah.
They just got to be careful with their position, not to get caught too much in the crossfire between a lot of other teams and third parties.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's a bit of the sort of kryptonite, is the fact that they don't know where to back away, or they don't do enough scouting, so they don't know that there's other teams around, and they end up getting pinched in a difficult situation. They can't escape from it. They don't have the firepower to be able to do that, or they just get caught off guard. As soon as one person gets knocked, they then get screwed over, and they get rolled on.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. So we'll see if they can maybe step it up a little bit more beyond that. I think 7T obviously getting the chicken dinner, that does answer a lot of our questions from yesterday, from this last week of, are they really as good as their group stage performance? Because we hadn't seen it on day one. We were wondering, okay, because TRD, they didn't do too well either in day one. Yeah. They turned it back around. Now we're starting to see 7T do the same thing. That was on Vikendi. You mentioned that Erangel is where we'll start to see them level up, but Sanhok kind of feels like the wild card. Do you think there's any of the teams in these two groups that it especially favors this small, chaotic map?
You know what? I want to say Nox. I think we might be seeing a good performance from them this game, because they have actually had a few decent sort of pushes into these different compounds before, and they might just be able to do that into this one. It depends where the circle lands. If it lands on a mountain, it might be a little bit different. If it lands in one of the edge towns, it could change the whole scenario. So we'll see on that front. But SNP, we have actually seen a little bit of decent plays from them when it comes to crashing compounds and also being able to defend those compounds as well sometimes. But we'll have to see. I do hope Thanos is coming back in because that's when they perform the best.
That's true. Although I do want to give a shout out to Sniper. This player, of course, using Chinese characters, refer to him by the pronunciation. He is honestly one of their better players, as his name would suggest, with the aim down sights. We're seeing him come up. Seif had a pretty good performance as well in that third party, but I remember seeing a lot of Erangel play where Sniper really came out of the woodwork and just really faced off against some teams that were very tough. That seems to be the better play for Snap, is when they are in these long distance compounds. There will be less of those probably on our next map on Sanhok, but there's a couple of places we can probably see some, like, across the river play, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more sort of hills in this one, but that also does allow people to be able to have a bit of a height advantage where they can then shoot down across. So if he does get an AWM, maybe he does get a decent distant shot, but I don't really know if we've seen that many long distance shots. I think maybe that Larsen shot was actually the best, so we'll have to see on that front. But we're going to be going into the map now. We're going to be going from Camp Bravo all the way down to the coast on the western side, going down to the southern side, actually. Right above Kaham.
Yeah, I wonder if Snap actually do drop down on Painan. As I say it, they pop out, and they're going way over to the north. We'll have to see where everybody else ends up going. You see 963, JS, Snap, they're all over there. Nox actually dropping up on Paradise, or at least Tatmok. It looks like where they're going to be heading for now. But we want to keep our eyes, of course, on the two teams we mentioned. We contrasted a lot earlier today. Is, of course, SWAT 6-9 and Arab Madness. Looks like B52 and crew are going to be going down to the south side. Might even go as far as docks. And this would actually surprise me a bit.
It does actually look like Script might be AFK on the MBZ side. I could be wrong on that one. I do hope I am, but that circle is actually going to be completely favoring the northwestern land, which is not what we've really seen before. And we're going to be seeing a firefight coming out between Kurd Squad and SWAT 69.
And this is actually huge right now. Kurd Squad are coming up huge in the beginning. Groza's dropped. He's taken out. SWAT 69 maybe want to rethink some of their early aggression as the hot drops continue. LP starting to lose members of UN, kicking things off as well. This is right back to business for ME PUBG Mobile, man. We get a couple of hot drops, and just like in Highlander, there can be only one in each of these zones.
Seems like Koro is trying to be the only one to be able to make it out of that fight, running the distance. Meanwhile, JS going to be right on top of Snap in this compound, and UN, it's actually going to be Tibby, who we've not seen before, going to be chasing after Koro here. Has to be a little bit careful, because I think Koro has got a gun. If he lays down behind a rock, could easily find the advantage here. But I think Timmy might be able to find these shots here.
Yeah, and he does. Coming out of UN, it looks like he will be able to finish off Koro, and there's still 16 teams remaining, but for how much longer, that is the question.
Yeah, and still 16 teams, like you mentioned, but KS seemingly getting back into the firefight here with SWAT 69.
Yeah, Ziadari does manage to get a drop down there on to one of the KS members. It is Ari, but the rest of the team is in. Worth mentioning, Golden Boy still in the lineup. We saw him yesterday. He definitely had some admirable performances. We saw on Miramar, if I recall correctly. That's where we really started to see him shine.
Yeah.
Now SNP, looks like they're going to get the heck out of town. They don't want to face down against JS early.
It's a smart choice, because they could end up dying a little bit earlier. Usually we don't tend to see that too much with SNP. Once they kind of get blindsided, tunnel vision, like a lot of the other teams where they see fire, they see danger, and they just run towards it blindsided. They don't really care.
Honestly, I kind of question that instinct, to be honest. Like, it's very Gryffindor of them.
Wait,
I admire
you
it, but at the same
that?
time, no, I usually run the other direction when I see fire.
I see.
That's how I'm still alive, Tom.
Well, a lot like the White Walkers, I obviously tend to do that. But 70.
I see that you've brushed up on your thrones in the break.
Somehow, yeah. Look at that. So LP actually running in the background there, whilst 70 are looting up uncontested. So it's actually fairly decent for them to be able to just be able to loot up in that distant compound. I can't remember which one it was exactly.
Yeah. 70, I mean, they don't seem like a team that ever really hot drops. I'm trying to recall a moment when they've gone in and gone for early fights. They do their best work when they have a quiet early game.
Yeah, I mean, they tend to have their set drops, which is definitely a sign of a team that know what they're doing. For example, on Erangel, their set drop is in Yasnaya, as long as they can get a decent drop over to it. But they have been challenged there before, and they have had to have early fights.
Say it, all right. Speaking of early fights right now, he's going to get dropped down by the superior numbers of KS. Ahmed Nari combo up to take him out of there. And there's only one member of SWAT 6-9 remaining. So if you're Arab Madness, you're kind of really happy about that situation. You want to face them down in the later stages of the game anyways.
Yeah, being able to pick up a few extra kills is fantastic, and K is still alive. RBK as well, we mentioned. And it looks like they're going to be crossing. I don't think they want to jump in that water yet. But nonetheless, though, we're going to be switching on over towards SWAT 69. They still
just Moha.
have one alive.
I mean, he's just going to have to play for positioning, hide it out right now, and this is not what SWAT 69 want to do. But obviously, on the cusp of going out in 16th place, that's not what any team wants to do.
Not at all. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you go down in 16th place with 0 kills, you get 0 points. You get 0. You get zilch.
And this is the downside of picking those early fights. You're confident in your ability to play, but you get out-fragged by a team like KS, who have been growing in strength over week. We saw them in 9th place out of the group stages. Respectable number. Not even the top team coming out of Iraq. It was actually Light Pirates, who had a monster performance on the final day. But then they reasserted their dominance. We saw last game, they had a bit of a rough firefight early on, and then they came back into it. Now, outplaying SWAT 6-9, the early fraggers themselves.
Yeah, so there is actually 2 members on Light Pirates left alive, but I think they're very much separated on the map. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to be able to survive, but we do know they are pretty decent at surviving, even in difficult situations.
Yeah, they've only got 2 people to dance, so maybe they'll be tangoing, because you know it takes 2.
Exactly. Well, you know who has more than 2? That's going to be Kurd Squad with their impressive performance to kick off this game.
They just took boot camp away from SWAT 6-9. They just said, all right, this is now our compound, and you can go anytime you'd like.
Yeah. Do you see that building they were on? People tend to call that lobster.
Yeah, let me guess why. Because it's shaped like a lobster?
Yep, and it's got red sides.
You know, I do love the terminology in PUBG Mobile. Like, I mean, because I'm coming from a lot of other games, right? I made my name mostly doing things like League of Legends, and you have things like Banana Brush and stuff like that, and that's always fun. But the terms in PUBG Mobile are really hilarious. Like, when you told me about chopsticks for the first time, I was like, oh!
That makes sense.
Yeah, and potato, it's all just how the minimap looks.
Ooh, potato. But JS still alive, so okay. A couple of bottom teams here trying to make it further forward. No teams have dropped out, but we have 59 people left alive. Circle will be closing in very, very shortly. I mean,
it's down to 3. What happened there? Looks like UN's got their sights trained on the MEA members as they occupy these huts over here.
Things if they take those shots, then I think they actually have a couple of members behind them on another team. AM, meanwhile, trying to drive a bike across water. Unfortunately, I don't think they realize that it doesn't quite work like that. Even if you could run across it, it seems like in PUBG Mobile, you can't drive the boat across this.
No, it's a little
water.
Unfortunate. But they can water walk it out, at least hopping and skipping and jumping across the way as they look to get closer and closer into the circle. This will be a really interesting finish because of where that first circle ended up going. It doesn't really matter where it shifts after that because teams are just going to be doing a runner.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these teams might get screwed over if they don't rotate early, or if they do rotate too early and the circle doesn't rotate over to them, it does mean they're going to get punished, because this circle right now is going to define where it's going to go going forward. It's going to cut out a lot of the land. If it shifts up there,
oh, it
like
does.
That's pretty much either going to be on the top tip on the right, or it's going to be on the land. And this area on the western side is a massive hill. There's a huge hill. And I did talk about if there was going to be a massive hill in the map, it would be a bit of an interesting play. Meanwhile,
he's down on the southwest or southeast edge of the map. I mean, this guy has got a lot of distance to cover. Fortunately, his boat has a motor, doesn't have to row all the way up there, and we will see a couple of teams failing. Actually, Hama's still alive in a totally different spot, and one of the UN members has breached in here but doesn't see him, so he might have a chance to take 1 or 2 down with him.
Yeah, see if he can do that whilst his partner is on the boat screaming, "I'm on a boat, motherfricker."
I didn't know where you're going with that. I had no idea you were gonna pull out some Lonely Island. Speaking of Lonely Island, I don't think it will be too lonely when that final circle comes in, but we do have some fights happening. As was seen from MEA getting dropped down by the UN side. kind of caught unawares.
It's actually a really good distraction because LP was just like, whoo, thank God for that. These guys are going to be fighting each other.
Yeah,
instead
Hollow
of
was
fighting
like sitting
me.
there. He was like loading in the bullets, and he's like, oh man, this is how I die. This is the end. I'm going to take him down with me. And all of a sudden, everybody outside his hut just starts killing each other. Like, oh.
R.I.P. is him. But no, not today. He managed to survive through. We're going to hop on over towards Paradise Resort.
It's going to be Nox
Paradise.
facing down against SMP here.
Nox is definitely the better team in this situation. They've also got a better position and have already done a lot of damage to the members of Snap. I think Snap are down to... Oh, no, they do actually have all members.
They have all 4. And Thanos is back in the game, by the way, worth
Yes.
mentioning. He was subbed out for the first time last game.
Codex, actually, that went.
Yeah, Codex was in.
Yeah.
Who we'd seen a little bit of, actually. But it usually wasn't Thanos that had gotten swapped out. And, well, maybe they wish they had. He just gets dropped.
Well, he's going to get snapped out of existence here. Meanwhile, 17 going for a nice run here. I can't quite see exactly where they are, but hopefully they do get into the circle.
Back to the fight. Morsey getting dropped down, so it looks like Snap still have some teeth. But Nox, as you mentioned, good position. They can cover their intervals here. Orluz is going to try and throw down some cover fires. Galiko looks for Sheriff. Orluz getting dropped by Seif here, so this fight actually isn't over by a long shot. Here comes Galiko around the side, trying to wrap, looking for one of the members of Snap. Doesn't quite see him. Now he does, firing in, and it looks like he will be able to get the down and the finisher on the Sheriff.
That's a heavy gun to go in to that fight with. Well, I say it is actually quite a light gun, but the fire rate of it is immense, and it does a lot of damage in a short distance of time. They have picked up one of their members, so I think Nox could recover from this. Snap are a little bit of a disadvantage. They've lost the person forever, and also the nades are now coming in, but to the wrong place.
Yeah, Ben's not quite got the angle that he was looking for. You can see Sniper there is knocked down, but Snap had managed to get back up 2 members. We'll be looking to get Sniper on his feet as well. So yes, as you mentioned, they lost 1, but the timing meant that they could res the rest of their team up. But it's now a 4-on-3, and we know Nox are a solid breaching team, especially when they know exactly what they're dealing with.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Snap, although they are actually shifting a little bit now, which is good to say, and good to see rather, we'll have to see what they could do going further forward. Circle is now going to be pushing in against these guys. The time is not quite working on the right-hand side, unfortunately, but you can see that blue bar moving across, and also UN on our screen moving across, and also some kills popping up from 7T.
Yeah, a couple more. They're taking out the KA members. I can't believe not a single team has actually been eliminated just yet because these fights have been a little indecisive. As the blue comes in, 10 minutes on the map, it's going to start changing really quick as KA losing members left and right. It's off screen, but you can see Reef just coming up clutch time and time again. And Hama just says, just keep swimming.
Yeah, another episode from Finding Nemo. Although it's not really an episode, but I would like to see a TV show.
You know, honestly, I'd be down with that.
I'd watch that. Maybe that adult version would be quite funny. But
maybe. That'd be weird.
Yeah, so JS in the meantime going to still be alive. And you know, just keep swimming. They've got JS in the name, so just survive is what they need to do.
I mean, they did not do it most of their games. This is a team that has had a couple of high highs and some very low lows. We'll see where the next circle shifts. Are we going to get a hard one? And it's centered on the map.
This is a hard circle, though. So you can see where MBZ are right now. They've got compound on top of the mountain, but it's very easy to breach, and there's a lot of opening spots.
963 lose Loran, or at least he gets knocked for the time being. As UN opening up fire here, he's going to have to start running for the hills.
Luckily,
RK is getting involved.
Luckily for him, though, his opponents aren't very good at shooting.
Yep. That is quite lucky indeed. Master is going to get dropped down by one of the RBK members here, so it is just a lot of scattered fights. A couple of teams only having 1 or 2 players remaining, some of them having 3, many of them having 4. Yaznaya is going to get dropped down by Seif here, so even SMP getting involved in this fight. Who's going to be the first team to go out? That's the question on everybody's mind right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a difficult one here. I think RBK have the advantage. Tibby is in a little bit of a difficult situation.
Yeah, Tibby's moving up, but RBK are going to be looking at him from the other side. Moha going down. That's actually SWAT 69 losing their last member after that early fight. Yaznaya going to get taken out as well as Loran's here.
It does look like Tibby's going to go down here. Unfortunately, that's another team out.
Yeah, UN going to be losing their members. So, honestly, UN, I think they kind of got caught a little snoozing between a couple of different teams there. They didn't move positioning-wise fast enough. We'll see how the rest of the teams go through as 963 are looking to try and breach in onto the SMP and Nox fight, throwing in a little bit of a Molotov.
It was actually trying to push in there to save his team member, but unfortunately...
That's a boot getting dropped down. Not a lot he can do here. Thanos from the backside lighting him up. You can see Basile is going to try to even those odds as well. Nox have already moved away and bailed out of this fight. SMP are just a superior team when it comes to getting those kills, and they will knock 963 out in 14th place.
Finally, at the 12th mark, we are going to be seeing 3 different teams go out, and we're going to be seeing the circle close in and another couple of teams fighting up. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot of teams drop off in the next minute or so.
I think so. Looks like Snap are going to lose 1 to Orluz here, and RBK get one dropped by Rip from Just Survive. and it just continues to be tit for tat over and over.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Snap, Nox do have the advantage, but Nox still need to move inside the circle, so it's not like they have a golden sort of placement. And a lot of talking about golden placements, there's Golden Boy sitting behind a rock, KS trying to move inside the circle, get a better situation for themselves.
It's kind of an appropriate name considering KS are definitely the crowd's Golden Boys for sure in this tournament. Looking forward to seeing what they can put up. Snap, they do lose Thanos to Oraluz right now, so still a handful of players remaining, but playing inside the blue, not so good. Nox, with that positioning, it means it's only going to be Snap having Seif left up, and I think this might be a 12th place or a 13th place drop here, as Seif just tries to find the shots, but he goes down at the end of the day, and that will be the end of Snap.
Yeah, unfortunately for Snap, even with Thanos, it doesn't seem like they're able to survive here because Nox has just proven a little bit too difficult for them.
I mean, he might be mad, but he's definitely no Titan, that's for sure. Nox are going to be making moves here outside the blue, but they have got a lot of distance to cover. KS loose Kraken, that's Mehmet. Opening fire right there. And Ahmed. Just Survive actually coming up on the crowd favorites and doing some serious damage.
And, I mean, they have to do a lot of damage, so I don't even know if what they're doing right now is going to be good enough for them. We'll have to see, though. Meanwhile, we are going to be seeing JS try to sort of push in, and they are going to be right behind KS.
Ari will have to clutch this fight. Looking for Rip, and he should be able to find the damage. No, he's still on his feet. I don't believe it.
That was so close, but this blue is going to be touching these guys. It's not going to be so useful. JS now in the better position, and Mehmet right behind Kurd Squad.
Yeah, we'll check back with that fight in a minute because L&D are looking to breach. No, here we go, back into it. Ari, did he actually manage to get Golden Boy up? It's kind of hard to tell. We swapped back a little bit too fast over to Hot 10, as it looks like MEA and L&D might be facing down each other. Rip does get dropped by the play zone. So a lot of these teams getting these fights here. Kraken taken out by Mehmet. That's going to be the finisher. It's going to be Golden Boy still on his knees. Ari trying to clutch it out. Ahmed crawling around for the positional information. He does manage to tell him where Mehmet is.
Yeah.
And it's just a one-on-one here. Effectively, Ari creeping around, getting a nade out. May have overthrown. Looks like he did.
That was really unfortunate. He's played this very well, but I think he's been able to hear him, and now...
Who's going to hop the rock? Who's going to hop it? It's going to be down to KS. Ari, he tries to go for the jump shot. Oh, it's Mehmet! Finishing him off. That's going to be the end of it for Kurd Squad.
Yeah, so Ari didn't actually have a helmet there, so that's a bit unfortunate, but... What is unfortunate, this circle is not going to be very nice to those guys. They're going to have to rotate across the water in the next circle. Meanwhile, MEA, not a team we've really spoken about too much. They've only got 2 members left alive. But 7T, they've got all 4 members left alive right now.
Yeah, they made land finally after kind of swimming across for a little while. And this is what we like to see from 7T. They just managed to stay safe until it comes down to about 5 or 6 teams. They take a position somewhere on a hilltop, somewhere in a building, and there's just no stopping them. Now AM are starting to move in. B52 fires the first shot, getting a few down. And you can see they're taking good positions on the L&D side, who dropped out very early on Vikendi. Here's Faker, clutch player, trying to find B52 on the opposite side, but they've only got this hut to work with. Drugs is already knocked.
Running at these shots off, which is a decent positioning from AM. They're trying to keep out these teams and try and play that blocker to anyone who's trying to get inside the circle. And so far, working very well.
That's one way to keep the gate for sure. Issa is going to get dropped by 7T's control here. Faker taken out, or at least put onto his knees by B52. Nox moving in onto MEA, and LND might want to decide to go under the bridges here. And there's just fire coming from every one of these AM members onto everyone trying to breach in. And they have managed to find a big opening.
And there's only 2 members of Nox left alive. They're trying to get across an LND, 1 member standing, trying to pick the rest of them up. Meanwhile, 7T are on the beach trying to knock down a bunch of people.
Yeah, you can see Moomin is going to get taken out as well there by Fazza. It looks like we have 1 full team elimination. Couldn't quite catch who it was here as MBZ trying to go in. Issa is going to lose his life. The Kevlos, meanwhile, L&D staying in squad, staying tight, but trying to keep their intervals covered here. Molotov opening up onto MEA's Abbas as he's already found Falastine.
But he didn't miss all the shots there. Oh, he's finally going to be able to take
I think
them.
he heard you, man. Well, actually, it was B52. This is actually crazy right now. Everybody fighting on the beaches, but such a great positioning for Arab Madness to see if they can get even further here. MBZ are going to be able to find it down onto 1, but they got to start moving as the blue is coming in.
MBZ, they may well be taking these shots, but 7T are definitely going to remember that they did exactly that, and they're going to be looking to punish them. Meanwhile, LND
they're still here, outside the blue. Let's see if they can make it happen. King, Faker, and Needle all involved here trying to find AM, but this is just such a tough position to try and breach into. 7T getting moved on by MBZ. Do they have the firepower to repel him? That's the question, as Boom is going to be going into the smoke right now. It's absolutely crazy, as this is a small rock for the cover. Fazza and Mr. 404i trying to make it happen, defending their chicken dinner position as he peeks around the rock, finding 1. It's going to be Kevlos down.
Now there's only one member staying alive, and it is going to be Script, but they're going to get shot from behind. What are they doing? They should have chucked down a smoke and tried to defend themselves, but unfortunately, doesn't work out.
They may not have had any.
They do actually have. They did. He picked up one. Yep. But it's actually going to be Script pushing up on them, and unfortunately, Control is nowhere to be seen. He's not going to be able to save them.
Yeah, that's a question. Where is Control? Looks like he's just off inside the circle right now, so it's going to be just for that information play. 7T are still in this, but kind of feels a little token when you've only got one player and not the clutch player, as Reef was dropped first. Falcons making a run up here, trying to hope NLND is a sufficient distraction for Quiet. It looks like he might be. King does get taken out at the end of the day. Now we're down to 9 teams. LND losing everybody and going out in 10th. Yeah,
and there is going to be a nade or smoke coming out here. It is a nade!
And he finds Kevlos. That's going to be the knock, so it looks like MBZ have everybody down on their hands, and he's one of them must still be up at this point. Falcons taken out by the play zone.
That was a finish as well, so they go out. They go out in 9th place, which is a little bit disappointing. Somehow, a couple of the teams going to be sneaking in, but the Control is trying to control this circle and stop MBZ from being able to push in.
Yeah, they're going to have to breach at some point. They're going to have to move outside, rather, I should say, and that is kind of open season for Control and the rest of the players, as he does manage to get one. Script dropped down by Zico from 46 loot. Looks like Control's not the only one that's got his sights trained on the MBZ Falcons right now. And that's going to be one. Looking for another. He has to go down onto his belly just to make sure he doesn't get shot back up. Oh. The elimination, that's the finisher. And MBZ are out of there.
Yeah, but only just clutching it. But Ben trying to do exactly that for his team, but he gets knocked out. And now it's going to be down to Morsey trying to stay alive. AM know there's someone right next to them.
They certainly do. B52 moving in. Hama finally looks like he's spotted out here, but he's not quite taken out just yet. Will be the finishing blow, and that is going to be the Light Pirates. This time they lasted to 7th place.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't UN that's going to enter his small building and finish him off. It's actually going to be AM in the end. Meanwhile, JS.
Control taken out. That's going to be 6th place finish there for 7T.
A little bit disappointing finish coming out from them. I mean, you asked if they could perform, but unfortunately, they were not able to.
Sanhok definitely a little bit more of a chaotic map for sure, and we'll see who it favors right now. It looks like it is going to be Arab Madness. Look at this compound they found. 46 loot. They're in a rock. Backs against the blue. You can see RBK have 1 member remaining, and then pretty much it's just Nox and JS trying to bring up the rear.
Yeah, and I mean, JS could do some work here, but unfortunately, 2 of their members are very low on HP at the moment, and Morsey, he's trying to sneak up, but he has to contend with the blue right now. And it's just not looking so good for him. He keeps dropping down, but it's just not the way to play it. AM are going to be looking to probably knock him out here.
Well, we'll find out what ends up happening. This game can't last a whole lot longer right now. It's definitely going to be a fast finish. 5 teams left remaining, a couple of JS members. Now that is the impressive performance. We saw them being able to survive it out. Now can Morsey do it here up against Quiet? He does manage to get a knockdown.
Yeah, I mean, this is the damage that could change the course of the game.
Oh, no! They're losing him. So it looks like... Is that the end of Nox? It looks like it is.
That's actually a nade coming out.
And they find B52. JS is RIP, and this is the Just Survive squad that we thought we saw a spark of yesterday. Is it going to be enough? Mehmet finding 2 on the AM side. They're still up, but with only 1 member healthy.
There's also 46 loot, the only team inside the circle, and they've got a tiny bit of a compound here that will remain. Meanwhile, RBK also got a member alive, laying down in the grass.
Man, JS are just playing like a team possessed. It's like they absorb the power of Kurd Squad after getting the kills. But as I say it, they lose SWAT, knocked down by Butcher, getting a little revenge for the AM side as they're back on their feet for sure. But this circle shift has certainly favored 46 loot. Will they be the ones with the chicken dinner at the end of the day?
I think so. I think they've got the full advantage here. It's really going to depend on what Just Survive do. If they pick each other up and then go in for the fight against the players inside the circle, it could change the course of time. Exactly the same with AM right now. They're sitting behind that rock. They're trying to grenade these guys, but JS aren't actually interested in taking that fight anymore. They've lost too many.
Yeah, SWAT actually does get taken out by Hazem right there, and he just says, hey, remember us? We're still alive in this game, and we've got 3 members. AM do as well, but Just Survive down to 2. RBK have that lone player. Mehmet snaking around, looking for a shot onto Zico. Molotov is actually going to be the one to drop. It's RBK kind of making himself known right now, and he does get taken out. That's going to be a 4th place finish for RBK.
But we are going to be seeing a loose drop into that of Mehmet, but Mehmet going to get fired on as well, and he's going to lose a lot of his health. Quiet.
That's going to be Quiet, looking for Rip. He does manage to find the down there. Hazem turns it back on to Rip as well, and this is just tit for tat, back and forth, everybody finding shots on everybody else. And it's anybody's game. Arab Madness, they have 3. So do 46 loot. It's the last man standing for JS. He does manage to find it down onto Molotov, but he's standing outside the blue. Taken out. It's down to 2.
So he did a lot of damage there, and it's going to be 46 loot, but the push comes in. Quiet! He takes down 2.
And that's going to be enough to make the finish happen. Arab Madness take the chicken dinner in a surprising fashion.
That was a huge, mad play coming out from the AM squad. They pushed in, they got the frags, he jumped around the corner, and he got the kills.
But look at JS, man. They get themselves a huge amount of kills. It's mostly on the back of Rip, but Attess losing his life early didn't seem to deter this team in the slightest. And a third-place finish, considering what they've been doing up until that point, very respectable.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to get the wipe onto Kurd Squad, which is definitely going to be leaving a little bit of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yeah, I definitely think they may be the crowd favorite killers for now, but that was a very close back-and-forth fight. The fact that they came into that final circle at the end is great. 46 loot, had a good circle shift, but it was not enough to beat the power of Arab Madness. They managed to get the chicken dinner. Again, I'm glad we compared and contrasted them with SWAT 6-9 because you could not get a more night-and-day performance on this Sanhok map. You
They
had
went out first.
Literally 16th place versus first. And these teams were just about tied at the start of the day.
Completely different play styles so far today. Really well played via Kurd Squad. But at the same time, I want to give praise back to JS, Just Survive. They actually played that a lot better and a lot more tactically than I would have expected from a team like them. So, you know what? I want to say congrats.
It's like we say, they have a couple of high highs, they have some very low lows, but when they come to play, they certainly do. And let's take a look at our highlights of the game right now. It all started with this fight between Kurd Squad and SWAT 6-9. We're not going to watch that apparently, though, because we're going to watch Koro getting taken out by Timmy. Yeah, now we're back to it. SWAT 6-9, I was so surprised they go out so early. Then, of course, Nox ends up picking a fight with Snap. They mostly win it, but then it turns with 963, who, unfortunately, kind of continue their trend of having Stormtrooper syndrome.
Yeah, it seems like they can do a lot of firing, but unfortunately...
not a lot of hitting.
Yeah, not a lot of aiming, which is a bit unfortunate. This was an interesting fight, but it was fairly obvious where it was going. Tibby eventually goes down, the sub-player that we've not really seen too much from in the past from UN. Did get the frags onto one of the teams earlier on onto Lights Pirates, but unfortunately, Lights Pirates actually made it further on than UN by quite a bit as well. They made it into that compound.
7th place,
yeah, with AM.
I mean, Hama literally just sat in that hut and just like, no one's going to see me. And he does until the 7th place position. Here's where Nox ends up breaching again onto Snap. They take down Thanos. This is pretty much the end of it. Seif kind of lasted a little while longer. I did like Nox's play on this game for sure, and they definitely earned their position. Mehmet, of course, this is how the fight starts with Chaos, and this is what the fans will hate to see, the fact that Ari just barely getting outplayed. He does manage to take down SWAT, it looks like, getting the down there, but honestly, he should have peaked a little faster than this, and it looked like Mehmet just had the drop on him.
Okay, so no, he did have a helmet. It's just about that he must have had double headshots it to him, which is a bit unfortunate.
I think he pre-fired a little faster, too. That was the big difference here. And then, of course, you see 7T.
I'm so surprised, because that's actually firing onto JS, and JS still managed to survive it, because 7T got fired on by MBZ.
Yeah, this is what really things kind of went sideways for 7T. They split off a little bit with Control going off to the side. They lose Reef early on. It looked like they were going to win this fight, but then it kind of just went sour, and you see AM, great positioning, holding the door, holding the line, and stopping anybody from getting into their territory. Control, he gets some good shots. He does take MBZ out in the end here. This was some great play as he kept popping up, popping down, but eventually he got taken out. And then, of course, Morzy doing a pretty good job on AM, but not quite enough to get the finisher.
I honestly thought that was going to change the whole course of the game, and it almost did, because he managed to down one of them and do a ton of damage to the other, but unfortunately it led to this moment where AM dominated, came through quiet with a very small slither of health with his AK, dropped around the corner, got the kills.
I think what we've seen is that 46 Loot are really good at defending compounds, but they have a harder time when it's out in the open.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to Erangel, depending on how the circle plays, we might see a lot more. Then that also explains why they have such good Vikendi maps.
Yeah, it's definitely true on that front. We have seen consistency from them on the Vikendi maps. What would have been better for them, though, if they did play the compound a little bit better at the end there. Instead, they played aggressive, trying to shout out AM, which I give them points for. They did try to play it a little bit differently, and they tried to learn and play a little bit better. Unfortunately, that's just not their strengths. AM, it definitely was. They played fantastic on that one. I can't fault them. They were moving very methodically, playing very well, and very clever. So, mad props to them.
Yeah, and also RBK for getting a 4th place position with just one player. I mean, they are honestly pretty solid survivalists. It's something that we don't often talk about, but we saw in Miramar yesterday them getting that chicken dinner. It really started to open our eyes to the possibilities that RBK can do. It's not just H-mode kind of lining things up over at that Pride Rock play, but they do have some pretty good survival mechanics. Other teams, honestly, LND has been surprising me, and not in a good way today.
Yeah,
They've had 2 games where they've been outside the top 8, and LND, they have Faker. They have some incredible playmakers across the board, but it's just not delivering yet. Maybe it's just these first 2 maps. Maybe it's a bit of stage nerves, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. I would expect a little bit more from Faker, but they just don't seem to be getting that position in earlier on. I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of different side from them as long as they're not tilted on the Erangel map as we go into the next map very shortly.
That's important, man. You can't let the negative performances really kind of weigh on you going into the next map. You can't carry the weight of the previous maps with you. Looking ahead as well, any other big standouts aside from maybe 7T kind of going down a lot earlier than we expected?
Maybe. I mean, they're trying to climb the leaderboard right now, so they have a decent position, and I think they could do a lot better. So, you know what?
Of course.
There is a good place we can find that information.
There is actually, of course, to see how 17 made it all this way. You can check out our website. It's clubopen.pubgmobile.com. Right below us on the screen for all that stuff, including up to the date, up to the minute even, in fact, depending on how fast you hit that refresh button. Stats on the players and how they got their points and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule as well. If you want to know what games getting played tomorrow, you can go check it out
Very
there.
useful. We use that all ourselves. And, of course, another thing we use is YouTube, because our channel, which you can hit the subscription button for, is over at youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. You can catch this ME region of the PUBG Mobile Club Open in addition to all of the regions being played around the world. And, of course, Tom, what else do you think they should do?
I think they should ding-dong that notification bell.
Just to make sure you don't miss a single minute of the action here at the PUBG Mobile Club Open, catching every single game. It's definitely not going to be easy, especially considering a lot of them are airing all at the same time. We, of course, have Europe going on at the same time here as the Middle East, but we have a lot more PUBG to go. 2 more maps of Erangel before we close out the night and the week. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. This is, of course, the semifinals. From 32 teams in the MEA region, we are down to just 24. We'll see at the end of next week, we'll be down only to 16 for the regional finals, but that's the tournament. I'm Pyrotechnics. He is Wee Freeman, also known as Tom Pickering. How you feeling? We got 2 more Erangel maps to go, good buddy.
I'm feeling pretty good, and if you guys are feeling good, make sure to go follow that link down there. Not link, but, you know.
You go hit the Twitter. Go follow us on Twitter for more of our shenanigans. There's definitely quite a lot of them.
Yeah, we just posted a link to this. So, you know, if you want to go retweet that, that would be fantastic to advertise the YouTube channel. So go and do that. But after that performance, what a bombshell from AM coming in here. And this describes
this is
exactly
so close.
that.
They are 1 point off of first place with 2 games in hand.
This is insane. I mean, what if they actually managed to hit the 200 and sort of like 10 mark or 230 mark?
You know what that would be?
What?
It would be Arab madness.
That would be absolute madness indeed.
They've already passed the real deal right now, and SWAT 6-9, although they ended with a 16th place finish, the worst they could possibly do, they still are in 4th right now. 7 Reef team still behind them in 5th place. 46 Loot just 3 points behind that in 6th. This is starting to see where the power shuffle has been. At the end of this, every team in the semifinals will have played 8 games, but we still have 2 more to go. I cannot wait to see how many more AM can stack. That was such a well-earned chicken dinner on Sanhok, but I think we are not done seeing the squad.
No, definitely not. I think they're going to be able to come into this next couple of games. I don't know how well they're going to perform on it, especially when we don't actually have TRD fighting against them on that initial Pachinki, and that's where they get a lot of their energy. But let's have a look at the next standings of the next 8 teams. Kurd Squad and Nox at the top there. Kurd Squad not doing as well as I thought they would do, but it was a bit unfortunate. They got backstabbed by JS, who aren't even on this page at the moment.
Yeah, they're way down at the bottom right now, so it was kind of surprising to see Kurd Squad getting taken out by JS, Mehmet, and crew really stepping it up. But for the crowd favorite side for Kurd Squad, I think there's definitely more to see from this team positively. They were 9th on Vikendi. Obviously, they went out a little earlier on Sanhok, but Erangel, definitely more of their home. Hopefully, we see a bit more out of them. They have already cracked into the 100-point spot. And then, of course, we see a couple of these other squads that are playing today. MBZ Falcons kind of down near the end there. So are L&D, who've had a pair of really horrendous finishes. But there's definitely some time to pick up more points.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the day, they're still going to be able to be in the top 16, but how secure is that going to be? Next week, we're going to be going into the final 3 days, the final couple of games as well, so it's not really going to be that many games for these guys to be able to stick in. I mean, 12 games, it's not that many when you really put it to mark. Meanwhile, JS in 17th position, they're going to be able to make it.
They moved it up a little bit. They were very much a bubble team, and they've actually just leapfrogged ME Assassins.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to make it in the top 16. So it's actually fairly safe for them. And like if they perform like they did last game, we could see them actually make it into the top sort of maybe 14 by the end of the day. But we'll see.
This is where the fight's going to be to try and get into the bubble, right? It's going to be between Just Survive if they keep doing things like that. If we see ME Assassins stepping it up, Light Pirates need to do better. And then the teams on the outside looking in, UN, Snap, HeadHunterr, of course, not even playing today. KI Squad and 963 are, but they have not really managed to pull much off. So basically those teams only have a few more chances to really get their butts in gear and move their way to a top 16 finish.
Yeah, and I mean, considering the group stage, we actually only had 3 spots that people were fighting for. Actually, it was only two spots,
because there's a lot of teams that didn't actually load in to the initial games.
We only had 27 teams in total, if I remember correctly, that actually played any games or teams that actually then mattered. So it was actually quite a difficult one to sort of really count. But this time round, there's a big difference. There's a whole 8 teams who are playing who can get kicked out.
It's actually very refreshing to see a full 16 stack every time. Maybe like a player or 2 doesn't load in. But for the first week, man, when we got, there's 13 teams in this game. Yeah, okay. Guys, come on. Show up to your matches. It's important. But we are moving on into Erangel right now. And look at that. It's just like yesterday, Wee Freeman. We have got a southerly plane path. It is going west to east, but we might see some military drops.
Yeah, and I think we'll be seeing the standard sort of Novo drop from a couple of teams. Maybe, I mean,
SWAT 6-9 maybe?
No, they're actually going up. No, they're not. That's just SWAT from JS, I think. So yeah, I think Snap and maybe SWAT 6-9 should drop over towards Novo. 70 have dropped down, and they are going to be going over towards Pachinki. I'm not quite sure which exact direction they are going to be heading. But we'll see, because they dropped a little bit earlier than I thought they would have. Meanwhile, Kurd Squad looking to take down on Primorsk. Otherwise, RBK have just dropped as well. A few other teams are wanting to do so at the moment. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 teams still left in that plane.
Still a little bit risky when it comes down to it to try and drop military because the circle could place so far away. We've seen teams wising up and really guarding along those bridges, and you know RBK are going to be the only team there. But if this gambit does pay off, we'll see where the circle ends up placing. Find out. Might be some early Pachinki fights, and that is northbound. But it looks like that encompasses a lot of spots. And interestingly enough, nobody's dropped on Yasnaya. I guess it was kind of a long distance to go, so we might see teams making tracks there.
Yeah, I mean, Needle from LND, as you can see him actually pushing up to the northern side, trying to get to Roslock.
Meanwhile, dropper already. This is interesting. We usually don't see either of these two teams hot dropping, but they're over at Gaka.
Yeah, and I mean, it's actually quite an interesting situation because MBZ have been proven very good recently. Meanwhile, Ben is going to have to pick up his teammate. And they are a good team, but I don't know if they're going to have as much loot as MBZ, so they may well be on the disadvantage here.
I mean, if I know Nox, they should be leaving, right? They're a team that knows when not to fight. But I wonder if maybe they're just thinking like, all right, we are a little bit better than MBZ. We've been playing better than MBZ. We can take them, and then we can get the loot.
I mean, I think the difficulty behind that is that they shouldn't actually know which team this is. So it's going to be difficult for them to be able to make that choice. So I think they should try and get a couple of team members away, and Aluz is actually going to do that as well. He's going to run away, and that's the smart choice because he needs to survive so that they can survive as a team.
This is Nox, yep. They're not a team that will take the unwise fights, and they do actually back it away. So, smart play from them. They'll cede control of Gaka over to MBZ. Galiko actually still inside this house here. Just guess he's going to see if there's anything else good to get, but we'll check back in, and it looks like we've got ourselves a good old Pachinki holdout. This is 7T versus AM. Now, we know AM love to drop this because they're always going up against TRD here, but TRD aren't playing today. So it's 7T facing off against them, and I don't think they're going to be the most comfortable.
No, and I think this is actually pretty dangerous because AM actually do a lot better after they have the fights in Pachinki because it gets them fired up, a little bit riled up. And to be honest, from their previous performance, I think that's dangerous. And 7T, they're not the best in Pachinki. We've seen them land, I think, maybe once, but not always the sort of best team when it comes to these sort of close proximity fights in Pachinki. Yasnair, they have done pretty well in the past, but they didn't want to make that rotation all the way up there. Meanwhile, RBK, they're the only team that dropped on the military island completely.
It's free loot. You can get as much as you want. The problem is, can you get away from it, or get away with it, rather? Because if any team realizes they've dropped on there, all they have to do is bridge guard it. Now we will be watching SWAT 6-9. Two of them are in a vehicle. Two of them are on foot here, so they've split off very early.
Yeah, and they're going over towards the school apartments, which is a fairly good location. Meanwhile, we've got Galiko back in Gatka.
Yeah, why did Galiko stay when the rest of his team actually backed away? Maybe he thinks he can actually pick up one or two?
I don't know, maybe he's hoping the rest of his team will be able to get back in time and help him, but it's very unlikely.
I am really not sure about the strategy here from Galiko, and now, right now, he's still staying up on the Nox side, and I don't know if MBZ know he's still here, so maybe he's hoping for an element of surprise and a wipe or something, but this seems unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an overkill. He should have just run away with the rest of his team or tried to... But I think he might be like, you know what, guys, you run ahead. I'm going to cause a distraction for these guys.
Cover their escape route. He does get the drop on his script.
That is a decent situation, and he's now in. He can go up to the top and just be like, right, well...
Come get me.
I'm just...
Script is trying to... I love it.
To be fair, I mean, this isn't like a terrible play. Although they lose him, Nox can do well with only 3 players compared to MBZ, who would be a lot in a bigger, weaker situation if they didn't.
He's got good positioning.
Yeah, he hasn't got a helmet, though, or a backpack, so kind of situation. And he's only got 5 bandages, so it's not really so good for him. So he has to play very careful, because a single headshot can take him out.
All right, we'll check back in with that in a little bit. This is, of course, RBK over on military. They just continue to loot up. No other teams are here. Kind of surprising, but he dropped it, and Galiko, yep, there it is, the end of him. He will get taken out by Boom. And didn't really get much for his trouble, so very suspect play from Nox.
That was very pointless in him jumping out that window. If anything, it would be much better for him to just waste their time. So this is what I was going to get at. If he just wasted their time, they're not going to be able to loot as much, and it means that they're going to be unprepared for later on in the game. Meanwhile, his other 3 members can do a lot better, and he might just be able to cause a little bit of trouble for MBZ. But jumping out the window like that was a dumb play. We'll have to see, though, over to our school. LND have taken over the school building. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing SWAT 69 take on that position in the apartment buildings. Otherwise, 7T, still not dead, still alive.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this one shakes out, because I don't think either of these teams want to take a fight early on, but AM are definitely much more confident in their early Pachinki play than the likes of 7T, who we tend to see much more out in the open. So we'll see how that ends up going down. Meanwhile, SWAT 69, who need a much better performance than last time around if they want to keep their points up. They're still in a good position overall, but they just don't have nearly as much. And speaking of good positions, 46 loot, they got a Severity all to themselves.
Yeah, and they had to do a big rotation over to it, so I'm happy to see that they decided to go for that. Meanwhile, AM have got a decent position on top of these buildings. And I just want to mention, actually, there's only 62 people left in, and we've only seen 1 kill. So that kind of ups in that I think only one person in one of the teams that actually didn't load in.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Butcher hasn't got a helmet. He's playing a dangerous game here.
Yeah, a lot of these teams not full looted looking for fights across the way, but so far it's really only been that one member of Nox that adopted to take a fight. Still really bizarre stuff. King does get dropped down by Ray from SWAT 69. That's across the map, of course.
Yeah, no, that's a really dangerous area to play, school versus apartments, because as soon as you can just keep picking each other up, and there's probably enough loot for them to be able to survive. But you have to take in consideration later on into the circle, you really need as many of these sort of meds and sort of helmets as you can get. So you really don't want to sort of have too many of these fights where you're getting knocked down, losing your helmet, losing your chest, because that really can make the make or break later on. Meanwhile, JS, they are over towards crates near South George. They're going to be able to rotate away, and they should be fairly looted up and fairly close to this circle as well. It would be able to have a look. It would be good to be able to see an overview on the map, but so we can have a look at the circle.
Yeah, we'll see it when it closes in soon enough, I should think, but for the time being, we're not getting that, looks like. I do want to see how that fight on Pachinki ends up going. You can see on the opposite side, this is the L&D fight. King actually turning it back onto Ray, and that is the ace player for that squad. So here you can see that long-distance play between school and apartments you were talking about. Looks like Ray is going to be in some trouble here, but he does have Z8, R8 there to get him up.
Rosa, he's out in the middle of nowhere. His car's just been blown up. He's now stuck behind a tree.
Yeah, that's not great cover. And he's got all of L&D in the sights now. You can see the fires opened up across the way back to Pachinki. You can see Needle also taking Rosa down to his knees here. A couple of fights have broken out between some of our more expectant squads.
Yeah, I mean, this is all down to Groza being a little bit too aggressive. I think he tried to rotate in a vehicle, had a tire pop, and he had to jump out and go behind that tree.
Groza's out.
And he's got a finish. And he was definitely actually one of the better players as well, because we've seen him do fantastic. So him and Ray, I'd probably say, is the top 2 members on their team. Meanwhile, 17 have had a player drop. They're going to be able to pick him up. We move over. This is on Stauber. KA have actually turned to on here. But I'm just going to say this now. Across the competitive games, we tend to see the lesser teams drop up on Stauber. And they didn't drop up there. They had to rotate via vehicles or foot all the way up there. And that's a big distance. And
it's all about positional play, right? KA, they're just not really shown any propensity at firefighting. JS are actually going to be rocking up to this fight as well, and it looks like they're going to catch the attention of the remaining SWAT 6-9 members for the time being, but they do have separate vehicles. This could throw a wrench in the SWAT 6-9 works. If they're not careful, Ray's already bailing out to rejoin Z8R, and they will see this apartment building.
That is a smart play. I'll have to give them that. But they're already at a big disadvantage because they've taken damage. They've got that one less person, and now they're going to be getting crashed by another team, which is just so unfortunate.
Here's where the circle is.
Circle is going to be closing in. Hopefully we see that go more towards
Everybody's
that
migrating.
Yaz
Look
area.
at that. Look at that left drop, and yeah, you can see it looks like it will focus on Yasnaya. Rozhok is still in the picture. Pachinki as well, but a lot of teams are going to be moving into Pachinki, and I think at this point, some of the current residents, they're going to get priced out. This is gentrification in action, folks.
Exactly. So K actually had a couple of members. Most of them were up over towards the Stauber area, but there was also, I remember, down below Pachinki, which was a bit of an interesting situation. I'm not quite sure if that was
These
on
have
purpose
been
or not.
slow maps today. Even Sanhok, it's been interesting. I think the teams are really adapting and learning to not necessarily take too many early fights. But then we've seen a couple of really random weird plays, like the likes of Galiko earlier on. On the minimap, we can see MEA. Over at Lipovka, they'll have to move out from home. I wouldn't be too surprised if they actually make for Mansion.
Yeah, I imagine that will be the play, but it depends if LP actually get there first. They have stopped off before the circle, because I think they've noticed that there is a team near them. Meanwhile...
Yeah, back over here by school apartments, this fight that's going on here, JS and SWAT 6-9 are actually going to be the ones taking up arms against each other here, but SWAT 6-9 have already lost a member, and this is surprising that their aggressive tendencies are really starting to bite them in the behind, but they've made some smart defensive play. The problem is they're kind of sandwiched between a couple of teams, and this is tough. JS are really starting to level up over the last couple of games, so we'll see if they're able to take it to SWAT 6-9.
Yeah, I mean, JS, definitely not an opponent to actually dismiss. I think at the start of the day, we were definitely dismissive of them.
They weren't doing anything, that's the thing.
I think it was for a good reason. They were very much a little bit passive, and when I say passive, they'd go for fights, and they'd miss most of their shots. They weren't as bad as 963 in regards to being a Stormtrooper full-on, but they really didn't achieve too much. But, I mean, when it comes to sort of notable achievement, there's not really been anything too much there. They've been kind of a below-average team. On the other side, like, we do actually have LP, the Dancing Pirates. We haven't really seen anything notable from them so far in the semifinals.
No, it was all about that group stage play. That's where they earned their name, where they were dancing in the houses, and then they started dancing on people's graves. But that does seem to have been kind of a one-hit wonder. We'll see if that changes as Zeus opens fire onto their caravan. Yeah, has to get back down, though.
Yeah, fortunately, they are just going to drive away.
That's a close call. Looks like one of their members nearly got taken out.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 members in that car at the moment, which is luckily for them. But you know what, Pachinki, it's actually been a slow fight. And this is the difference between TRD and 7T. Usually when we see AM versus TRD in Pachinki, there's usually at least a couple of deaths by now.
And TRD are usually the ones that defend their house. AM have been good enough to take it toe-to-toe with them, but usually lose out a member in response. But 7T definitely more than happy to see the territories. They know a lot of teams will be coming to them. They can start making their way east. We might even see them move over to Yasnaya instead. And we'll check in with a couple of the other teams. This is the rest of Nox. Still have no idea what the heck Galiko was doing earlier on.
No, it's a little bit disappointing, but this does mean that they are going to be able to loot up properly, and they've got plenty of time before they have to do any kind of rotation. So they should just be able to settle down, get back into the rhythm, because one of the big issues I sort of mentioned yesterday is that once you get pushed out of your losing spot, you tend to fall out of the rhythm, and you kind of tend to sort of stumble down the hill, and it's very, very often that you see the teams not able to steady themselves down that stumbly hill.
Yeah, definitely the case. MEA now. Man, we got some car battles. I don't think I've seen this since Miramar a couple of weeks back. MEA under heavy fire from the Light Pirates over by Mansion. So MEA did make for it, as you mentioned, but not entirely unscathed.
Yeah, opening this package is right next to Pachinki, and the circle comes in, and we may well be seeing a school finish. And
I think we will.
That's a dangerous one. There's a lot of carnage that tends to happen there.
Yes, they're right in the middle of it right now, and I think this is definitely a chance for Kurd Squad to shine, if they can.
I just want to mention, almost 13 seconds. Sorry, 13 seconds?
13 minutes?
13 minutes in.
2 kills.
Yeah.
This is the slowest day we've had. This is weird, man. It feels very bizarre. Like, we were watching some of the VODs from the India region the other day, and we were like, yeah, no, it's weird. Nobody dies until like 13 minutes. Now we're watching that in real time over in MEA, so it looks like teams might be adapting to other region styles.
Well, you say that. India, I spoke to the casters yesterday, and they said the exact opposite happened for them. Their teams are playing more aggressive. And instead of our teams playing more aggressive, they played more passively, and their teams played aggressively. So. Things
have started to change, though. 7T have turned on to 963, but that seems to be a pretty chaotic fight, considering the fact that 963 normally can't quite find a shot on anyone. 7T lose 2 members to what has been one of the last-place teams.
That is really bad news bears for them.
I want to see that in a replay, man. What the heck just happened?
I don't know. Oh, it's because 7T have actually moved position. The jump out of the building comes in.
They do find the knockdown onto a boot here, and that should be enough for them to finish off the rest of 963. Escobar, though, he's still lighting him up here, looking for Reef. And this fight is not done yet.
Yeah, he does manage to blow up that vehicle. I don't know where the rest of 7T are. If there is actually
they're dead, I think.
I think that is right. And unfortunately here, I think Reef is going to get picked up, but I don't really know if there's going to be much hope for them here. We'll have to see in a moment. Yeah, those are the 2 dead bodies, I think, of 7T, which is really unfortunate here for these guys. They tried getting away, but they escaped in 1 vehicle. And you know what happens when they do that?
Get blown all the way back.
Yeah.
That is one of the most bizarre turns of events I think we've seen so far today, is that 963 go toe-to-toe, equalizing 2 of the members of 7T. Now, we'll check back in with the school apartments fight, where very likely we will see close to the end of it. I'm not even going to talk about KA, whatever the heck just happened there, because I think that's going to really favor a lot of the teams that are over at school apartments at the moment. Maybe not SWAT 69, who seem to be in one of the worst positions, but we'll talk about it when it comes back there. Still Escobar and Lorenz facing down Reef and Fazah.
Yeah, I think in that situation, 7T could still come up with better. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, Fazal just gets knocked again. Reef can get him back up, but I wonder if 963 are going to kind of like smell the glory here and go in for the finishing blow. Escobar still kind of holding in the house.
He got it.
Here he goes, trying to run for it. This is forced Reef to back away. He's praying, but will he get the kill? And he does! 7T are out in 16th place by 963. What the heck? And Issa just gets run over. What is this game? Tom, can you analyze this for me?
No. That's just complete madness.
Is that refusal or inability?
I guess refusal, because what the hell is going on with these guys at the moment? So we're going to be seeing 7T.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, well, it seems like 7T are. They crash into that compound, and now the circle. That's something else to talk about. It's actually going to be centering and land on either side of this river, and it's actually possible for it to land on the northern side. So we may well see a team like KA actually go to the other side. But I just want to reflect back on that. So 7T actually screwed up massively, and they definitely could have done a lot better. Coming out in
you could say that again.
16th place against the worst team.
They get a chicken dinner, and then 2 maps later, they get 16th place on what is supposed to be their best map.
Yeah, and just to reconfirm what I was saying there, not worst team, but worst performing team. Just to
that's
confirm.
fair. That's fair. When I say worst team, I'm talking about how they're down to the bottom of the standings.
Yeah, just to clarify on that, we're not trying to shit talk them. That's what I'm talking about. But let's move on here. There's going to be a package right next to KA. Look at Haji there. He has got the opportunity to get the MK14, which we've not really seen him play too much.
Probably should grab it,
yeah,
to be honest.
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, you do need a couple of bits for it to equip on it, but nonetheless, AM have started that rotation. And now the fight's coming out.
Up against Lost here. Let's see if they're going to be able to come out with the fight, the win. MEA coming in hot, trying to kill the rest of the KA members. Lost is going to be dropped to his knees. And I think MEA just that much better right now, so KA pretty much lose everybody, and they should be out in 14th place.
This is what should have happened when 7T got challenged by 963. Back onto KS though, JS.
Golden Boy, man, he's coming up hot, and the rest of KS is as well. So they start to turn it around to get a little revenge from that last game for sure. Meanwhile, SWAT and Attest are still up in this one, but not for much longer it seems like. KS have actually been down to 2-2, so maybe that's actually a little more even than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, Attest is the last one standing, I think, on JS right now. He is. His
They're
teammate
split.
SWAT is outside the building. This is not going to be a good look for him. But Kraken, if he pushes up here, he's going to be a potentially easy target for Attest to take down.
Yeah, I feel like they should go for the double push here. Now, this is back on school apartments. These teams will definitely need to vacate soon enough. This is much better play from L&D, though. We're seeing them honestly having a smart position, a smart setup. Ooh, Ahmed on top of that roof. Golden Boy getting knocked by Attest, so this actually evens out.
Oh,
But Kraken takes out SWAT. Okay, there we go. So JS are out again. This
And
is 15th place.
Yeah, there's actually another team coming in to join the fray
Oh,
here.
it's a Loosh. On to Loot 46. Things are starting to happen pretty quickly right now.
Yeah, so we're down to 14 teams. It's not too bad, to be honest. But meanwhile, we're going to be seeing RBK take on UN, and it's not going to be a peaceful approach.
It's definitely not the case. This is aggro first diplomacy for sure. Oh, RBK coming in. Yeah, that's a double knock on the nades, and they just go for the breach. RBK. This is a team that when they decide to go in, there is nothing stopping them here. It looks like Master does drop down to try and get a wraparound. He might as well just run away from this one, although he does start to open up fire on one of the members. Has some free fire. Get knocked. That's going to be it. And UN are out in 14th.
Yeah, and RBK don't even break a sweat there. They jump off the building, take the finish. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Meanwhile, 963 is still in it at the moment. But for how long? Meanwhile, AM are looking to take on the MEA guys. And this could be really bad for the MEA. They're not in the healthiest of spots.
Well, that's very, very true right now, trying to hold up in this gas station. Not an easy place to go. Speaking of hold out, Live Pirates continuing to do it, but bleeding out all the way. That was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, 46 loot doing some damage.
Yeah, they are.
Good for them. I do want to see them perform pretty well this game. I mean, Erangel has been their better performing map, I think, overall. But the circle is really good at defining that, and I think it's going to shift down south. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Well, you're about half right. It looks like it's actually going to favor LND and the last remaining member of Nox as well as Snap. So, kind of over just to the eastern or west, or yeah, eastern side of Rozhawk right there. Let's see where the teams end up shifting. I think AM are definitely going to have to start making a run for it, so they do chuck down some smokes. Yeah, they get some cover fire.
If I were them, I'd probably actually just rotate with 2 members in that car, leave the other 2 behind, and kind of split up your opportunities here. They are trying to blow up the car here to try and punish MEA and stop them from being able to rotate as easily. But MEA actually have the Riverside to be able to rotate through eventually, so there's that opportunity for them, but they do jump in a vehicle.
All right, as expected, looks like a couple of them are popping in there, and there's still one remaining member of KA, so this is what we were talking about, wondering when KA was actually going to be eliminated, but Haji has managed to stay alive. Now, we've seen him do this before, I believe on another Erangel map, and let's see if anybody spots him. No, he has just managed to creep down into the grass without being seen.
Yeah, I mean, going out in 13th place would not be the best option here, so that was actually probably one of the smartest plays we've seen from him here, not taking that fight. Meanwhile, we do actually see Alush getting knocked by Kill Kurd Squad.
Now here's Spot 6-9 under the bridge. Looks like they're trying to take people out, and this one, Hama, is going to get dropped as well, and that will be the end of Light Pirates out in 13th place. Meanwhile, Ray just unloading as much as he can on the MEA side, and everybody's just letting bullets fly, but we're not seeing as many drops as we might have expected here. Kraken even getting in the mix and taking Alush out.
Yeah, it seems like instead of just being the trolls under the bridge, they're trying to be the goats on top as well. So let's see if they can actually do that by performing as well as they have done in the other days. Meanwhile, L&D, the team that haven't been performing today, trying to bring it up, taken out.
Yeah,
46
looks like MBZ are going to pretty much be losing everyone as well. So all of a sudden, not a whole lot of territory left. Everybody's fighting over the small bits of land that there actually is here, and we're down to 11 teams. Looks like it's soon to be even less here as the 46 loot members losing all their lives to the nades from Faker. L&D just showing up today to play on Erangel.
What
Here
is
comes
he
AM.
doing?
Haji, he's opening on. He's only got a few ticks of health left, and he will finally drop. That's going to be an 11th place finish there. for KA.
Well, he got a kill, so I'll give him that, but he's going to die to the blue. A little bit disadvantaged.
963's last player finally loses his life. They get, honestly, 10th place is one of their better finishes so far.
Yep, I mean, they got the 4 frags on 7T, so you know what? 4 points, not so bad for them.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to do a lot of advantage for them. But moving forward, I want to say KS, I think they have the advantage here. They've got the compound, and they've also got the skills to be able to sort of achieve this. Abbas, rather, on MEA side is across the way, trying to get the revenge for his fallen brothers onto AM.
Yeah, it looks like we see the rest of the SWAT 6-9 members actually getting dropped down, so we're down to 8 teams as well after that. And man, things are definitely starting to heat up here across the river, and along the way you can see SMP have managed to survive. One last Nox member remaining, and everybody playing up to the edge of the blue right now. Next circle, we'll see it closing in pretty soon.
Yeah, so this is quite an interesting play coming out from MEA. They're on either side of the water, and they're trying to make the approach. But let's talk about AM.
Molotov, waiting, not a lot of health. Shouldn't have a whole lot of health.
Yeah, there's only 2 members. I'm not quite sure who the other one is, but it's going to be very dangerous for them. I think there's a couple of nades that will come out from MBK, sorry, RBK, and they could survive through, but it really depends on the next circle shift, if it's going to be going away from them or not. But the circle will be closing in 20 seconds.
I think you nailed it when you talked about KS being the favorite team here, because they have one of those last compounds. They're kind of dead-centered at the moment. We'll hopefully see it shift in their favor. It seems like a lot of the positions are going to be that way. SMP also have a decent spot, but very likely that things will shift away from them. In fact, guaranteed, because they're already outside the circle.
Outside the circle, and going to be right next to a couple of teams as well. Same as LND, so they are going to be getting approached, and it's going to be MEA.
Oh, yeah, Wasim's going to open up. He actually manages to down Seif right here, but Snap do have 4 healthy members apart from him. Or 3 healthy members, I should say, as Guns is just waiting, seeing if he could find Thanos. Should go for the head. He's got a helmet, but I think that's still going to do a lot of damage as LND have cruised into this compound here where AM and RBK are, but Molotov already gets dropped down. LND just coming in as a squad. Hazim is hiding. This is an unusual strategy.
I mean, you know what? Fair enough. Trying to hide under the water in that vehicle may have lasted for a little bit, but I think he's going to die as he tries to press that water.
RBK getting the heck out of there. I think he's going to be going down as well. You can see a couple of their members scattering to the winds as LND coming and take everything away from them. However, he's opened up onto drugs on the opposite side. Going to end up getting 2 down here before LND see him coming. Brilliant play by the RBK member. Will it be enough to keep him going in this one, as Faker was preoccupied with Kraken and Ari on the opposite side? It looks like KS are going to lose a couple of their lives, but RBK cleaning house, getting everybody down just about. Only Faker remains.
Faker may have to be able to just get out of here and fake his death, because he does not want to go down right now in 6th
H-mode
position.
Try the fire here. Faker, not a whole lot of health. H-mode actually getting the better of him. They'll just tag in, and it looks like that's going to be the end of LND out in 7th place.
What a fantastic play coming out from RBK. They may only have 2 members remain and make that maybe 1 as they're going to get pushed, but MEA going down.
Drop down here. It looks like KS are going to be thanking their lucky stars. The fact that LND got taken out there so quick because they were under heavy fire from them. The rest of the SMP members, meanwhile, are moving around, rotating into the open fields. It's going to be Guns trying to face down 4 members of KS who should be the favorites left in this round. Sheriff taken out by a boss right now. MEA's lone remaining member. No, excuse me, Guns is still up in this one.
MEA, the team that have started just shining through today, definitely looking to try and make an impact and get a couple of points on the board so they're not inside that bubble.
Ooh, Ahmed, he's dropped low here. Guns is just being a thorn in their side as Abbas and Wasim are coming up. This could actually be the end of the crowd favorites as the rest of SMP are going to be piling on in that vehicle. Kraken trying to hold the line, getting dropped down by the breach from Wasim. And I think that's going to be the end of it here. KS, they may not have a whole lot of members here as Kraken is dropped down. It's going to be all on Golden Boy to see if he can make it happen as Wasim goes in for the breach. Looking to wrap around the side. That's that pre-fire coming through, but it looks like he will finally find the spray he was looking for.
There's still 1 member of KS somewhere, and he's actually outside by the wall. But RBK should be able to see him momentarily.
I don't think he's got a whole lot of health here. And Abbas is going to be able to fire him down. KS go out in 4th.
What a fantastic play coming out from MEA, proving that they are a team that can contend, and they do exactly that. We're going to be down to 3 teams, MEA, SNP, and RBK, and it all comes down to this last moment.
There's that vehicle firing down, and you can see only one of the SMP members actually make it safe inside that house. It's going to be Thanos. Will he be able to try and clutch it out against the remaining members? Abbas is going to be wrapping around. He can't even get inside as he tries to manage up. Going in just in time, getting the heal, getting knocked. That's it. It's down to 2.
And RBK going to be the team to try and find the Achilles heel of MEA, and it seems like that's not going to be the one.
One more chance to go there. H-mode going in, going beast mode, but finally getting dropped down, and the ME Assassins claim the victory.
Not only the victory, mate, but also a huge amount of kills. I think that's actually a record.
That has got to be for our region for sure. You look at that.
That is going
21.
21
It beats SWAT
kills.
6-9 by exactly 1 kill. What an absolute crusher of a match, and everybody just about carried their weight. I think Falcons fell quickly, but man, we're going to start rewriting some history here.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to give mad props to them because they were under heavy fire in that gas station from AM, and I really thought they weren't going to make it out of there, but I mentioned if they had the like riverbed to their advantage, and that's exactly what they did. They dropped out of the gas station, went to the river, 2 of them crossed, 2 of them stayed, they pushed along the riverbed, killed multiple teams along their way, and they got 21 kills and the chicken dinner.
Well,
that is going to be 51 points, and that's going to be pushing them whoosh,
way up the standings. That was impressive performance, really living up to their name as Assassins. That was just such sick performance. I think RBK, once again, kind of living up to him, being like, we can last till the very end. That's going to shoot them up the standings as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at our highlight reel from the day. There's certainly a lot of good plays. This one, a bit of a low light, though, is Galiko. What the heck was he doing?
Don't know. He lost his mind. He jumped out the window. He did have an opportunity there whilst looking back at it in the replay, but it didn't really work out. Groza, we can see, obviously tried crossing back over to his teammates. Did not work. And then 7T. What in the God's names was this?
Yeah, I have no idea, man. It was a straight-up 4v4 against one of the worst-performing teams so far in the tournament, sitting at, down near the bottom of the standings. But Lorans and the rest of 963 finally start to shine. 7T had no idea what the heck hit them, but we'll check back in with this play. This is where most of KA lose their lives to the MEA side, and this is where the frags start stacking up for MEA.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really have too many before that, but they managed to get an extra 4 after that, and then we see UN coming under fire. They ended up dying.
Big breach there for them, for sure. It really did start to pay off, and now you can see the 46 loot members trying to come in. There's one random Nox member kind of in the mix as well. LND, though, they look so good. It looks so promising for them, but they did end up going out in 7th place, which was surprising, and even more surprising was how it happened. RBK just finding the flank, opening fire. They had no idea where he was, and it was just absolute brilliance from the RBK side. Here's where Hazem actually gets ended there by a boss, and MEA, they were just hunting people left, right, and center, finding Seif as well in the sights of Wasim as he goes in for the breach and finally finishes off Golden Boy, and that ends KS.
Yeah, a bunch of kills for MEA, and just once again, SMP tried to push up on them, and MEA were just having none of it. Easy kills for them for days, and the same here on the last members of RBK. You can see Hamish Mode being able to knock down 1, but couldn't get the second. Easy
match for sure.
Lemon squeezy, and look at that damage. That is the top damage I think we've had all together. 3,667 damage, 21 kills, first place against that of Kurd Squad, who get 4th place. 11 kills and 1.5k damage.
That's absolutely nutty right there. And, of course, Kurd Squad, respectable performance, but honestly, I don't think it can ever compare to what MEA just put up. That is a record for our region so far. I can't wait to see how this breaks down and who were the top kill scorers, who were the top damage dealers across the board, because MEA just had it covered on every single interval. What's crazy is Falcons was the one to go out first. In the group stages, he was the player that was stepping it up the most for this team, and everyone else just closed around and really made the plays today.
I want to see who we're going to be comparing him against, because it's obviously going to be the head-to-head Kurd Squad versus that of MEA, the team that managed to walk away from that with 51 Smackaroonie Pointerinos, which is rather glorious. Meanwhile,
it's brilliant, man. Now, Ebo wasn't even in this game. So we'll have to check in with who was, because he was normally the top damage dealer, but we'll check in as Wasim goes up against Ahmed here, and Wasim gets 7 kills, over 1,000 damage dealt, a pair of headshots to top it off. I think we saw those in the highlight reel. This guy was an absolute monster.
Yeah, I mean, the 7 kills is absolutely fantastic, and he did an extra 400 damage on top of that just to secure those kills. Really well played. And also, Ahmed, you have to give him props getting those 3 kills. Moving on, though, we do see Kraken.
Kraken, I mean, what is Kraken was this guy's damage numbers and kills, because he picked up 6. He was actually mopping up a few, and he kept up with Falcine in terms of distance. But as I mentioned, Falcine was the one who didn't perform on the team compared to everyone else, especially Abbas, who gets 9 kills for himself.
And only 878 damage, so he did below the minimum needed for 9 kills. So he did a little bit of a cheeky kill still there, and I think that was actually on the member coming out of the water. He had, I think it was Hazem from 46 Loot. Yeah,
he was trying to hide it with the vehicle in the water, which, interesting strats for sure.
Yeah, and he didn't have full health, so that probably would have been the one where he was able to get the extra kills. So really well played by these guys here. Abbas getting 9 kills, which is really good for them.
Yeah, that was some fantastic stuff, man. I mean, that is one of my favorite games so far. It was just so much chaos. It was so weird how it started. Very slow, a couple of really questionable performances from some of our better known teams, the likes of 7T,
Yep.
the likes of Nox, at least in terms of Galiko. I don't think the rest of his team really can be blamed for that, but whatever the heck that communication was, whatever was happening there, I really hope Nox managed to fix it. I hope 7T can shake off what just happened, because we've seen them go from chicken dinner winner to 16th place.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, the way this game is played, the pacing, that's kind of what I expect to the future as to how this game is going to get played, how we're going to be seeing it in the future, how it's going to sort of pace out on this front. And, I mean, 7T performing like that isn't fantastic. They're definitely going to be dropping down on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and speaking of leaderboard, if you want to check out all the information on that and see where the teams are stacking up against one another, you can go ahead, go to our website right below. It is at clubopen.pubgmobile.com. And, of course, it's useful information. We use it for all of our prep as well, so you guys will definitely have a lot to look on in addition to all the other regions and the MEA, which we are covering here today. But, of course, in addition, you know, where we can go as well to find all that stuff, Tom, and watch the live feed as well as our highlight reels is over at youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. Don't forget to smash that subscription button. And, as Tom always says,
Ding dong, the notification bell.
so you don't have to miss a single minute of the PUBG Mobile action. There is so much. It's honestly hard to keep track of it all, but across all of the regions, we have seen some stellar play. I cannot wait till it gets into the regional finals, man. This is going to be real spicy.
I want to see some highlight reels of a couple of these players, because I think by the end of this, when we have to choose that one team that managed to make it through, we're going to be seeing a few highlight reels coming out from separate teams.
We certainly will, but we have got one more game of Erangel to go before we close out the week 1 of the semifinals, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
PUBG Mobile for free.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. You're listening to the voices of Devin Pyrotechnics Young and Tom Wee Freeman Pickering. We have got ourselves one more game to go on Erangel before we close out this week one of the semifinals. And boy, is it ever going to be interesting. We had a whole heaping helping of unexpected results. Tom, give me your take on that last map.
21.
Yeah? That's all you got for me? 21 kills, in fact, by the MEA, man. These guys, holy moly, I was back in my chair. I was freaking out. What is going on?
21 kills and 3.6 thousand damage.
That is literally a third of the players that were in the game.
That is just insane. I mean, you can't knock them for this front. They didn't get 25 kills, so could have done better. But nonetheless, let's have a look at the standards here.
Oh,
and AM going to be able to make it all the way to the top there. But surprising, RBK, they're in 4th.
They are. They absolutely are. They have a chance to leapfrog over the real deal. They would need a bit of an impressive performance to finish it. They need at least, it looks like, 28 points just to tie them. But AM finally get into that first place spot with a game in hand. If they put up a lot of points in this last one, it might even be out of reach for some of these teams. 46 loot coming up again, even though they had a bit of a roughie of a round. They're not too far behind SWAT 69, who fell very low once more in this penultimate one. And 7 Reef team falling back into 8th place.
I mean, they did go down very, very early and get very few points. So really unfortunate for them to be able to come into this. I'm very disappointed. I mean, Kurd Squad have higher placement points by 1. More kills as well.
A lot more kills. That's separating the entire difference. And they're 1 point off of 46 loot. Kurd Squad could definitely end the day in a top 6 position.
I mean, that's 8 kills more than 7 Reef teams. So Kurd Squad really showing up in many placements here. Meanwhile, MEA still only down in 9th place.
So they got 21 kills. That is more than double what they'd had previously.
Yeah, I mean, before this, they had 15 kills.
Yeah,
that's insane.
They got everything. That was nuts. And then a chicken dinner on top of it, so that's an extra cool 30. Puts them in the 9th place position, and all of a sudden they're in a much safer spot. And looking else across the board, I think some of those teams, LND, MBZ Falcons, LND had a much better round, at least in the very beginning. MBZ kind of having another roughie. Some of those teams just outside of 16th place might be nipping at their heels.
Easily possible here. I mean, if you're staying within that 80 point mark, it's not really what you want to be able to do and what you want to have going forward. Nox, in the meantime, I just want to bring them up. 102 points. I think we could expect a little bit better from them. We saw Galiko mess up massively, but moving on from them, let's have a look at these guys. So JS actually in 18th position. We'd see Light Pirates down in 20. 21 is going to be United Nation. And then 963, even after they got a couple of kills there.
They doubled their frag score,
23.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Give them some credit there. I mean, they definitely showed that 963 do have some teeth. They're tied now with HeadHunterr for 22nd place. Of course, tiebreakers and all that being what they are. KA Squad still down in the last place position. So we'll see how that all goes. There's still going to be some games to play going into next week, but I do need to see a lot more from any of these teams, you know, Light Pirates and beyond, to expect them to really break out of that bubble.
Yeah, and I do expect we're going to be able to see that going forward, but I think from a lot of these teams, it's going to be potentially a few surprising results. I think Team Russia Crush are the one teams I kind of expect to be able to push up the leaderboard, but at the same time, we could see Light Pirates actually come through, because they did it last time. They came through at the last minute, got a bunch of wins, a bunch of kills.
When it mattered. It was literally on the last day that they could possibly prove it, and they get a double chicken dinner.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that team since. Where did it go?
I don't know. I think I'd like to say they're doing it for dramatic effect, but I also don't think that is the point. I think the fact is they are currently getting
I have
punished.
a different theory.
What?
I think Snap absorbed their essence and have now become the new Light Pirates. And the old Light Pirates are just kind of like a random team now.
Yeah, definitely going to be possible on that front, especially with SMP doing a lot of dancing.
They do a lot of dancing. That's what I mean. They have a little
yeah.
bit of fun. And to be honest, they've had some stand-up performances like LPI have, but just not quite to the same level. Like they just seem to have a difficulty fighting straight up 4v4s. They can definitely clean people up. They can definitely find a few good headshots. They showed some decent breach play on that last map, but unfortunately, you know, you go out too early. You need to be able to survive a little longer than that, and maybe work on your positioning a little bit more if you're SMP.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still a lot to work to be done across all the teams, I'd have to say. There's been a few surprise results, like AM being able to get to that top position, but they didn't come first in that last game. They died, and they got punished by MEA. After they had them cornered in the gas station, they didn't get the finish, they didn't get the kills on them, and so MEA managed to crawl away, sneak away, get across the river, and manage to punish them. Yeah,
that was the crazy thing there. It looked like it was going to be MEA dead to rights, but then not only did they move away, you mentioned the river escape route was open to them. They definitely made good use of it. But then they came in, they cleaned up everybody. It was an incredible play. It came down up against RBK. They still managed to outshine them. H-Mode nearly had the clutch, but just not quite enough. I can't wait to see more of this MEA side, because after shattering a record that SWAT 6-9 had held since day 2 of the group stages.
Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, we're now on, what, day 8, technically?
Yeah, if you put it all together, kind of wrap it up.
Day 9.
Day 9, yeah.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, good stuff.
9 days into this, and we've got another 3 coming up very soon next week. But meanwhile, we've got one more game, and it's time to shine for a lot of these teams. I mean, RBK in 4th position. We didn't really expect that, but let's have a look at this map here. And it's going to be a very, very nice playing path. We've not seen one as nice as this for a long time. So it's going to be going from Georgetown over towards the Lipovka, cutting out the military island. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of those teams actually decide to
Only one
rotate.
team dropped last time, right? Even though the plane path was so skewed towards the south anyways, we only saw RBK there. And RBK did last all the way into 2nd place. So to be fair, it has a decent precedent. I want to see where the teams drop this time around, especially the likes of 7T, who opened up on Pachinki. You got to think maybe they're going to be ceding that ground, going over to Yasnaya instead. We will see them still in the plane. It looks like AM are actually going to be the ones heading there over to Pachinki early on, but a couple teams dropped Georgia Pool.
Yeah, and I mean, Georgia Pool might be a bit of a fighting area, the fight club, as it were, for a lot of these teams to be able to take out the anger
crate
of
battles.
The last result.
I love some crate battles, man.
Ooh, and I mean, the 2 teams that are dropping there, it's going to be Kurd Squad and I can't actually see which
Kurd
one.
Squad, SWAT 69, and JS are on the north side.
Yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a dangerous one there, but it does seem like Kraken are going to be on the southern side, and wow, that's a lot of teams.
They are all dropping east. Are we going to get Lipovka fights or Milta Power?
We're going to be seeing Lipovka, and we're going to be seeing others, but look at that circle. It includes the military island, so that is possibility.
We got potential.
But also, so is Potato Hill.
You know, I would love this to be, yeah, that's another one because it's dead center. I would actually love this to be a military circle because nobody drops on it, which means teams are going to have to go swimming or crossing the bridge, and you better believe there will be some carnage. So almost every team outside the Georgia Pool ones and Nox are inside the circle to begin with. Good drop, good centered circle. And I'm curious to see, I honestly want to check in on what the heck happens at Lipovka. We don't often see fights there.
I don't think there's going to be any fights. So it seems like MBZ have actually won that dominance, and they're just going to be able to land down there.
Yeah.
That's something I thought I would have had to say, but MEA, on the other hand, they are going to drop over towards Milta Power, and this is quite a decent position for them, because they're going to be half in the circle and also have a decent loot positioning as well. Meanwhile, we're going to have a look at JS, who are going to have a decent time looting up in towards North Georgia Pool. But I just want to mention, I mean, that Milta position is quite infamous on the desktop version. Quite often we see in the EU region, Team Liquid actually take the area sometimes, but usually it's FaZe that sort of have dominated that area for the past year and a half or 2 years, which is really insane. And I expect we're going to be seeing a couple of teams pick it up as their favorite place to drop. MEA, if they take it, I'd say that's perfectly fine because they actually play similar to FaZe in the way they play a sort of aggressive sort of positioning. So let's see if they do that. But meanwhile, down in towards Milta, we might be seeing some firefights.
Yeah, maybe early on, but these teams have definitely started to settle more into early non-aggressive patterns. Outside of a couple of random scattered firefights, we didn't even see that on the last Erangel match. So might be a quiet start. Maybe we can kick back, relax, enjoy ourselves. Unlike the earlier phases of this tournament for the ME region, Tom, where it really was just a lot of early firefights, and then it being whittled down to maybe like 10 teams, and everybody else would be like, all right, there's plenty of room here on Erangel. Now we get to chill. And, you know, tell me, how was your day?
Yeah, that's pretty good, you know? I mean, a bit better than those guys. They just dropped off that third three-wheeler. You know what?
Yeah,
How was your day, though? How was yours?
It was good, man. You know, I had a nice little lunch, got up, you know, around like 11 o'clock and just kind of kicked it in the hotel for a little while. Kiev is beautiful this time of year.
Definitely. I mean, we actually went to lunch together. I know you may not be able to remember, but I know you
I did. I was waiting for you to intro it. You know?
And we got to have a lovely birthday song that you kept on telling me about.
Dude, it was great.
Finally saw it.
Yeah, there's this fantastic little restaurant. Well, we'll get back to that in a minute because it looks like LPI are going to be under fire.
You talked about Military Island. It seems like a couple of teams are trying to get on over that. RBK going to be challenging the LP here.
What is this, Mad Max right now? They're just chasing him down Fury Road. You can see LPI going to be on the opposite side. Meanwhile, MEA have already set up at Mill to Power. They won't have to face off against anyone, as you mentioned, during the drop. They kind of won the dominance team, saw them, decided, you know what, maybe we don't want to face up against the guys that got 21 kills last round.
You'd hope that, but I mean, I'm just going to point this one more. They can't see their names. So
that's a good point.
It's a bit of a gamble.
That's a good point, actually.
So we've got to see what they're able to do there. 70, on the other hand, they're back to their old habits, and they've dropped into Yaz. This is a good sign. It means that they're able to go back to their original position. The reason why they didn't last time is it just wasn't from them. The playing path was terrible, but that's not an excuse. We saw TRD actually go in for the rotation up towards their position in towards Saverny beforehand, which was not a usual drop for them. They still were able to perform, and then we're able to see them actually take the win there. Meanwhile, 70 haven't done that kind of rotation. Unlike a lot of these teams, have actually started to adopt that. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing KA actually go for a run.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that KA tend to do early on. They just try to avoid most of the players on the map apart from themselves. And, you know, I don't really know what to make of them. When I watch KA play, it does seem like they have a game plan in mind. They are always going for that placement side. But when the fights start, it almost feels like they're never expecting it. Do you get that same feeling?
It's kind of just like the thing where you say hello to someone, and they're like, ah! Oh. Yeah, okay, let's fight.
I think it's called anxiety. I get that a lot.
I think it's more just slowness. They're not really...
Could be.
And also just awareness, I guess. So, like, talking about actually, like, sort of game awareness, I don't think they have too much of that when it comes into it. Same as 963. I don't think they have that full awareness. Even if they did kill 70, I don't really think that's fully fair on us sort of dumping onto 70 like that, because 70 drove in one vehicle, which was a huge mistake, but they were... When you shoot at someone in one vehicle, it doesn't really show massive skill from the attack inside. It just shows a little bit of a...
Poor decision-making, right?
Yeah, poor decision-making coming in from 70.
But that's why it's surprising, because 70, I mean, well, we've known them more as a clutch squad, right? Like, they definitely are the kind of team that, especially with the likes of Reef and sometimes Control, they come out really big with individual plays, but they usually last a lot longer. So we kind of had this expectation that they would show better judgment in the early stages, and that's why it was so surprising to see them get downed by the likes of 963.
Yeah, and I mean, especially talking about clutching, Reef had the opportunity to be able to do that, but he just fell straight off the face of the earth and died to one of the lesser players, lesser performing players, which is a bit unfortunate. Meanwhile, we might be seeing a bit of an earlier fight between Alush and the other members of UN.
Interesting. I wonder where the rest of the team is for 46. Alush is going to open up fire here, but unfortunately misses, gives away his position. You can see just a little flinch there. That's him saying hello.
He has got a teammate backing him up, but he's not really got any meds, and also the grenade is now coming.
Oh boy, it's primed and ready. You can see Hazem is actually just at his back there. Does he throw that one out? Ooh, he nails it dead center. And that's the down. Nicely played by the UN side.
Yeah, and I mean, Alush going down that situation is not good at all, because the other UN members are going to come and join, but it's going to be MEA coming under fire.
Wasim already dropped down as Sheriff opens him up, and that's going to be the first casualty of the game. It's one of the MEA members. Now that is a twist of fate.
Yeah, and a twist of fate coming out from that person, you know? Thanos trying to set the trend here.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Meanwhile, UN trying to finish off the rest of 46 loot at the moment, but they are trying to pick up their member, which should be achievable. Meanwhile, we're going to have a couple of the other members trying to sort of push in here.
Movement is actually going to get dropped, so great nade play by Membi. He actually finds Alush and gets the finishing kill kill as well. I was going to say usually 46 Loot are great at defending these compounds, but it seems like the tables have turned a little bit as UN have started to move their way in. They've only got 2 more members to contend with, and Zico isn't even full health.
And we've actually seen a few decent plays coming in from these guys on the UN side, but it's not already come out today. They've had a few decent shots, and grenade might just do the damage, but this door is shut.
It's a smoke.
And it's a smoke. I got you baited.
It does happen to the best of us, Tom, so not to worry. I love that. I think that might have also debated even UN's own members. They're like, you got him! Oh, wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really going to happen there, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now, I think it's worth pointing out that UN, they did have stand-up performances against 46 Loot in the past, and we actually kind of noted it from some of their house fights in the group stages. So this is kind of history repeating itself as Zico does run out, gets down by Master. Hazim turns it around, but I don't think the Mavs favor him right now. Zeus looking open fire on him as they get cover behind the buggy, and it looks like 46 Loot near to be eliminated. Only Hazim remaining, but he takes down Zeus, who just walked right into his bullets. I can't believe it. That's UN out.
Somehow, some way, he managed to get that kill. I think the main reason was he actually got the headshot onto the player with no helmet, but now we're going to be moving to the circle as it shifts more central or all the way down. There we go. Landing right next to Pachinki. Are we going to see another
might get a Pachinki finish. AM are the only team occupying it right now, and if you're light Pirates or RBK, you might feel a bit silly for having to fight over the military island. And we'll check in with SWAT 69 here as they're occupying a nice little house by the coast. Maybe thinking about what they're going to be doing later on in this game, because SWAT 69 have been going in guns a-blazing for most of this.
These guys are in the blue
set, but they are in the.
JS are in the blue. Still, at this point, this late in the game.
But they're not moving at all. Wait a minute.
They took ages to do that. They are now in a vehicle, and they're going to rotate in one vehicle. AM have got a couple of vehicles. They don't need to rotate, so let's see what they do. But let's have a look at this replay.
Yeah, this was Hazim just cleaning house here, and honestly, it looked like he was going to really just get taken out by the remaining members here of UN, but Zeus was the only healthy member. He goes in, he rushes. Excuse me, Hunter's there. Hunter gets taken out, and yeah, he just downs him in the crossfire.
He just accidentally, I think, got those kills, because he was just spraying in a line. They lined up, he popped their heads, and now we're going to be left with the question, what's going to happen here? Because LP are fully aware, I think, of RBK going to be on that island, so they're in a decent position to be able to just camp this bridge and wait for them to come to them. But
they might get voted off the island.
Yeah. I mean, RBK might just rotate across the other bridge, and that kind of sort of defeats that purpose, but meanwhile...
Oh, smoke's down. Or excuse me, nade's down. Shaswar, half his health taken out. B-52s is starting to drop bombs on him.
Yeah. Oh,
it's too easy. Oh, double downs. That's KA losing 2.
Monster kills.
Man, you should get your voice in this game, dude. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, unfortunately for Haji and Shaswar, that's the end of them. But they had split off. So KA, I think this is actually kind of smart for a team that isn't all that great at fighting in fours anyways.
Yeah.
You might as well split your differences. Somebody's going to survive.
I mean, we saw it from IQM.
Yeah. Well, they do it with everybody.
Yeah, but this time around, yesterday, they actually played together, and they saw their worst day, I think, across the whole of the tournament. That's their worst performance throughout all of it. And it was actually pretty bad, to be fair, considering the amount of plays they had before. But meanwhile, have a look at 963, one of the lower performing teams that join up next to KA.
Yeah, they earned a little bit of notoriety for themselves, taking out 7T that last time around. We'll see RBK as well. And I think you're right. It looks like they might be heading off base, but they're going west. They could get caught
into the bridge.
In the trap. LPI.
The Pirates may well be able to loot up and take the plunder of that of RBK. But we'll see.
That would be a serious twist here. Now we'll take a look at LND as they move down by a ferry pier. Now you can see AM and 7T facing off against one another. That's a big old caravan as Molotov opens fire. 7T just cruised right on by Pachinki.
Get off my land, says them.
Says, go ahead, make my day. You feel lucky, punk?
You feeling lucky, punk? But yeah, I mean, I think 17 can still get into Pachinki very easily if they want to, which they have done. They've just gone down the other end.
Here's JS. You were talking about how they stayed in the blue for a long time, but don't seem to be too phased by this. They've taken up a boat. Ooh, hold on a second. Nox and SMP are coming in on MBZ's territory. This is going to be interesting. And they open up fire. It looks like Kevlos and Los Kev trying to find the down. Sheriff is going to be the first casualty. MBZ taking him out here, and you can see they're just firing inside of the house. Not a whole lot SMP can do right here as they lose Thanos getting knocked as well and taken out of the fight, it looks like. That's going to be the Kevlos. He finds even more.
Now there's going to be one member left alive. He does not.
It's a one-on-one?
Yeah, one-on-one, but I think we're going to be seeing that the members pick themselves up. Script is finished, and now Thanos and Codex trying to run away. And Codex is in this game, so they have switched another member around, but Let's see what ends up going out
Sniper
here.
who's not in this one, actually. So Seif trying to just blind fire here, as it looks like the last member, Kevlos, is going to go pick up his teammates. Codex is still crawling. Thanos is still crawling. Seif, meanwhile, has been laying down cover fire. This could turn back into a 3v3.
I mean, Thanos is going to bleed out here. There's not really much of a chance for him to be able to survive. Bit of a shame, but this is going to be an interesting situation. And actually, where the center of this circle is, this is actually the very center of the map right here, just below the sort of barn buildings.
Very central circle, quite literally.
It's the dead center of this map.
We
so
could get a potato or pachinki finish big time.
This is a very default area in regards to maps settings. I went through and I tested settings hardcore. I think it was about 5 days. 8 hours a day testing different settings for all of them. So that's kind of why I have an understanding of the way the circle shifts.
Right.
Because I literally spent days working out how it works. But meanwhile, let's see if Thanos has worked out how this team are working.
Boom, rushing in, and he gets lit. So they got information out of that, but what did it cost them? I think everything at this point. MBZ could be in some trouble.
That was a pretty good one, I'll give you that. But meanwhile,
maybe it's SMP. Kevlos has been a crack shot today, man.
He may have lost in his name, but it seems like Seif may be at loss this time round. And now, lost Kev.
Finishes off Seif here, and he's going to be breaching through. See if he can find the last remaining members here. Codex, Thanos, not too healthy, but they're sitting on that second floor. Kevlos, he's not got a lot of health for himself as well. Trying to get the looting, and Los Kev opening fire up. You never see these one without the other MBZ. These are the twins of the squad.
And hopefully they can actually finish off these guys. It'd be pretty impressive. But the blue, it is coming, and it's going to be ticking and doing the damage.
Yeah, phase 3 only, but it's still starting to hurt. Thanos getting knocked down again by Los Kev in that second floor, and Codex, he dare not peek.
He went for the head, got the goal, and now we're going to be seeing potentially MBZ walking away with the advantage here. Codex
I think they
trying
can't
to
just
heal
walk
up.
away.
Yeah, I mean, this blue is not doing a full amount of damage, but as soon as it actually hits the finishing mark, then it's going to start doing the chunks, and there's a car coming by.
Looks like that's the rest, of MBZ.
Uh-oh.
They've been doing that with not full numbers here.
Yeah, MBZ have been doing this fantastic job with only 2 members fighting at the end here. Very interesting, but nonetheless, we're going to be moving back to Pachinki.
Oh, AM only loaded in with 3 players. That was why we saw a slightly different number.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, it looks like Thanos ends up dying. Looks like he just bled out there. However, there still is at least 1 member of SMP left alive. We haven't seen the team counter drop. Meanwhile, KS and LND are kind of fighting it out for each other. Yeah, I think Codex is dead here. Oh, no, never mind. He got the health back.
Yeah, so he has actually got enough loot there, I would imagine, for him to be able to loot up and move away. But meantime, 963 versus a KA, this is a very equal fight.
Yeah, the 2 teams actually quite low on the standings, and we can see that KA only have 2 members left, so it's 963. This might be their best chance to try and breach in here. It looks like a nade just comes up.
He naded his own teammate.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. So that window actually leads...
smoke. Oh, that wasn't.
Interesting play. I'm not quite sure why he decided to smoke that. Probably a mistake, but these are the kind of things we can expect from these guys. But K at the top here.
Ooh.
Codex does die to blue. That's going to be them out in 15th place. A little bit unfortunate for them, but meanwhile, 963 still trying to make the approach here. The nades do go out, and Lus maybe down.
Yeah, this is a really interesting fight here along the edge of the circle. You can see sprays coming out from each side. Muhammad ends up downing Abood. Lawrence might be needed to get his teammate up pretty soon here, all with 4 members. 963 not taking anything for granted as Lost gets Escobar down. Escobar, or rather Yasnaya, turns onto Lost as well. We got to check back in with 17 and AM, though. Look at the fights happening over back at Pachinki.
Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, we are going to be seeing 963 get a finish, which is decent, and now there's only going to be 1 member left there, but LND, Kurd Squad.
Opening up here, it's going to be Kraken and Ari. However, just down to these 2 members, this isn't going to be the easiest defense right now as King goes forward. And you can see Kraken does get the down, but it takes a lot of his health bar with him. Meanwhile, back in the 963 fight, they will finally finish off KA, so 963 coming up ahead there with the superior numbers, and KS losing the last of theirs. Out in 13th place. Disaster striking for the crowd favorites.
Really unfortunate for them, but let's have a look at these guys. So RBK are going to get fired on by SWAT 69, so RBK obviously made it across the bridge onto land.
Yeah, they actually had some boat strats going on, we could see earlier on.
Which is the right way to be able to get off that island. You shouldn't be going and taking those bridges at that point in time.
They're taking down the RBK members. They just came out of nowhere. That's Kevlos and Los Kev, and they just knocked them all out.
The Brothers of Trouble knocking out RBK in the 12th position. They finished second last game, but they're going to be finishing 12th this time round. Nox laying on top of Potato Hill, almost center here. going to be waiting in line to push in. I think they're all just staking in up towards MBZ. They heard those shots, so they want some of the action.
Let's see where the circle ends up shifting after this. You can see LPI have actually split out, and they've kept all their members alive, so feeling pretty good for them. But unfortunately, they're rubbing shoulders nearly with SWAT 6-9. That's never going to be a good look. L&D making for the dead center of the circle, the dead center of the map, as you mentioned. Meanwhile, that western edge of Pachinki continues to be fought over by 7T and JS.
Yeah, I mean, L&D right now have the full-on advantage. The circle is more likely to go sort of more center as of right now, but it could shift towards Pachinki, but it's very unlikely. Meanwhile, LP...
Yeah, they're starting to lose members here. SWAT 6-9, they've just got the bead on them right now, and that's Ray, the big player coming up for his team. We'll see if SWAT 6-9 are able to perform a little bit better here. Koro does turn it back onto Ray, though. That is the down. Koro, he gets headshot and taken out for his trouble, but, man, not a lot of people get the drop on Ray like that.
Yeah, that is not the... takeout that you really want. Is, you know, maybe pizza, maybe some Indian, maybe some Chinese.
I was gonna say normally I go for some like you know, pad thai or something like that, but that's not the kind you like to see in that game for sure.
No, but MEA somehow still alive right now. They're down to 2 members, and I'm right insane because they lost a couple earlier. But we are going to be seeing another team right next to them. LP still alive as well, but they're going to be right next to the dangerous squad of SWAT 69 who have been performing quite well today.
Yeah, already taking a couple of them out here. Certainly hunting for the rest of them. You can see the players alive on the screen. 46 Loot still have 1 member remaining. Light Pirates and MBZ Falcons down to 2. However, MBZ Falcons, they have the twins. They're still definitely doing well. Arab Madness down to 2. They were the winners of that last round. And honestly, I think any of those teams still have the potential to really make it all the way to the end. And Reef gets headshot by Mehmet. JS, once again flexing those muscles.
Yeah, they are going to be able to pick him up here, and this next circle is going to be coming in and really pushing people together and out in the open.
Oh, boy.
So some of Pachinki is open. This actually gives 70 a huge advantage as well over multiple teams, but look at that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, 7 teams, 8 teams out of the circle right now.
They're going to have to run for it, and they're going to crash directly with one another. It'll be interesting to see how it goes because MBZ right behind them is all of Nox. MEA are just going to immediately make a break for it here. And it looks like 963 are going to wait and take their time. And LP have already sent one on ahead while one stays back.
Yeah, he was crawling through the field, which is actually a very clever way to go. There is a Wizard Tower out there, but AM have actually already taken it. So B52 and Molotov have got that position in. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing a bunch of snakes from LP trying to survive. MEA coming under fire.
Yeah, Mohawk taking down guns, and in fact, Ray ends up finishing him off right now. So, SWAT 6-9 really starting to prove that they can be the aggressors and still last into the top 10. Looking for it even further here as they just continue to light up MEA, but they just can't quite get him through the cover.
Yeah, they're trying to blow up that calm, but they couldn't quite see it, and because of those smokes, it's going to be able to give them the cover there, but the circle's coming in.
Ooh, Hama takes down B52 meanwhile, and the fight continues over at the edge of Pachinki where Reef manages to get one knock. We'll check back then without a minute. 963 kind of running through the trees here as Z8, R8 is going to try to light them up, but, you know, 963 have done a good job to last this long so far. They've just got to manage to make it for cover. You can see a Boss and Escobar both getting dropped down in 2 of these different fights scattered across the way. MEA starting to lose members. Lorenz even managing to get one down. This game is definitely still wide open right now. Meanwhile, this is the fight we were talking about. Mr. 404i primes that Molotov, sends it all the way over to a test. Let's see if he lands it.
I'm not quite sure. We can't really see other angle, so no, he didn't get across the way, which is unfortunate, but the smoke is going to be out from a test. Test now needs to walk into the circle, which is going to be very difficult as the spray is coming in.
He just says, dance. Makes him move left and right and center. Mr. 404i really covering all these intervals. The rest of the 17 members still up and available. Now you see Nox. They've moved in on the vehicle, instantly into the cover of that care package. And Nox are just taking their time, patiently waiting. Honestly, this is when we see them do some of their best work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed in their placement of the vehicle there. If they placed it slightly different, they would have full-on cover behind that box. If they placed it at an angle, straight out of the wheels, they'd have a solid cover.
So you give them, like, what, a B+ for that one? You know.
I'd probably say C, actually.
Oh, wow.
Something they should
you
really
are
do.
A harsh school teacher. I'm glad I didn't have you in primary school.
So we did actually just see LP go out in 10th place, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they tried to run it, and unfortunately they weren't able to make it happen. Speaking of running it, JS decided to send a test forward, but Control had him covered, and he will take him down. JS still have a couple of players, though, in those trenches.
I think they have been spotted, so they are known there, known position. MBZ still alive in the other side of the sort of chopsticks here, in this side. They're not really chopsticks.
More Z. He's dropped down. Reef sees him. And this is why Reef is such a clutch shot, man. From such a distance, he's able to take him out. L&D steals the kill away. It's Faker that comes up with it. So you see Nox are just being fired on from multiple angles. Reef is taking damage in the blue, but he's still taking shots.
Dedication to the cause, and Hazam is actually right behind these guys in the blue, but the circle is now going to be shifting outside of any real cover.
Kevlos.
He's dead to Jiznaya. I think MBZ still have Los Kev, but we didn't see where he is. Now we can see on the right side.
Yeah, he's actually right next to JS in the pits here. And the grenade takes out one of the members of JS. It's actually going to be SWAT dying.
Reef has been huge this game, man. If 7T don't win this one, I definitely want to see how many points they manage to accumulate off of the frags. JS's Mehmet and SWAT still waiting.
Yeah, and I mean, they actually only have 3 kills. So it's not actually that impressive. I thought they would have got more,
Well,
but
you know, they have gotten a couple stolen away from them, so that's fair.
That's true.
I want to see the damage numbers. I'm going to refine my earlier statement as the nades keep coming and they don't stop coming. It looks like LND facing off against Galiko, getting the down. That's Drugs. And meanwhile, SWAT 6-9 are just running through the open field here. Let's see if they're going to be able to get into it right now. Drugs preoccupied to try and take out Galiko on his knees and Nox. Unfortunate end, it looks like, for this team. That will be the last remaining member taken out. And honestly, it was such a promising start. But unfortunately, the Israeli side gets taken out in 9th place.
But B52 is going to be looking to challenge. That was 7T. And they have lost a member to 7T earlier. So it'd be interesting to see if he does get this storyline of a revenge frag on the team that did do some damage. In a pan actually takes out Molotov. That was an interesting one.
You don't see that every day for sure. And B52 is the last man standing of AM, is really trying to hold the line here. Great smokes to cover everything from SWAT 6-9, and they just run straight in through the field. Everyone, I mean, I don't even think they need to be honest, because everyone's faced down against everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really impressive play. We do have 963 taking on LND.
What is going on here? Now, that is a knockdown from Needle, and he will get finished off, but all the same, great play from the 963 side. This is something that we just haven't seen from them before. And I said Nox was out, but I was wrong, because Orlus is still in this game, and he's still finding headshots here. But now SWAT 6-9 has joined the fray. They down Mr. 404i. Z8R8 trying to get these shots off from inside the last remaining compound, or one of, I should say. Here comes Control. Fazan Reef closing in. B52 watching from a distance. This is playing against the blue, though. This is tense right now for AM. Play zone kills Drugs. Nades out. Looks like they're trying to find a few more shots here, but in the pit they go. Ray going to start lighting them up, and it's Z8R8 losing his life. Ray getting the down under control on the opposite side. There's still 2 17 members up.
Is the clutch member and the other one where he's going to go down. Now Reef is the last one standing.
Yeah, Reef, can he do it right now? He tries to get through, but the nade blows him up, and that's going to be the end of 7 Reef team out in 7th.
What an interesting situation to happen there, coming in as a clutch situation for these guys, and now it's going to be a snake play as these guys
2 Nox members
push in here.
I thought they had all dropped.
Same, to be fair, I'll give you that one, but they do actually have an interesting position here in the bushes on either side of this slight incline. Meanwhile, Abud from 963 is still here, but you know what? Going to be seeing what's going to go on here. JS still alive somehow, outliving 7T and MBZ with 1 member, and B52 on AM still alive.
I think this is the best performance 963 have had.
By far, and indeed, we're going to be seeing another knock, and that's going to be AM going out in a 6th position. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing SWAT 69 just take team after team. JS trying to challenge him.
Yeah, just outside of Pachinki's where we will end this final round for the week. Moha trying to scope up, seeing if he can find the Just Survive members, and they are certainly doing exactly that here, hiding in the trenches best they can. But I think this might be SWAT 6-9's game to lose right now. 4 members alive. As I say it, Ray lights himself on fire. Come on, man. We were just praising you.
Their game to lose.
You know, honestly, it wouldn't be one of these games without somebody self-molotoving.
Come on, guys. Come on. You're better than this. Don't hurt yourselves. It's not the right way to go. But MBZ, I think they're in an interesting position because they haven't been in a fight. Oh,
look
wow.
at this. A boot is sandwiched between Ben and Dr. Orlus, and I don't think any of them know it.
I mean, what'd you do in the situation?
Oh, snake mode. You just keep snaking.
He knows they're here.
Oh, he has to now. Yeah.
What's he going to do?
Oh, boy.
He's taking the shots. He's actually knocked him out. That's going to be an interesting kill, but they're playing behind him.
Holy moly, how did Abu do that?
Why isn't Alu shooting him?
Silent as a grave. I don't think he has the drop on him. There we go. Now he's going to be opening up fire here. He's taking a couple shots. Not quite enough to get him down, though, as he tries to crawl away to the soft cover. Can Abood actually outlast the last remaining member of Nox as the blue closes in?
Abood needs to turn around and take the shots, but he's not doing any of that. He's crawling away.
And so ends 963. But that's a 5th place finish.
I'm still so just like, that's an obvious play to do. Turn around and shoot. You've got a big boy gun, and you took out his teammate. As soon as the shots come in, turn around and kill him. That was a really bad play by them, but they get 5th place, which is better than we have seen them do before, so fair play. Meanwhile, SWAT 69 in a decent position to be able to take this one home.
Number-wise, that's definitely the case. However, Just Survive and MBZ seem to have slightly better positioning on this next circle. We'll see who's going to be able to close it. Meanwhile, there is still 1 remaining member of Nox. Orlu's still involved in this one, so it's 4 teams and 8 players remaining.
8 players remaining, but none of them in an ideal situation when it comes to the next circle. Aluz is in an interesting spot when it comes to being able to crawl in, but he has to crawl through the open, and Ray has got a spot on him.
Yeah, this is going to be a little tough for pretty much everybody. Let's see what SWAT 6-9 do, though, because I feel like they're going to be the ones that have to, metaphorically pull the trigger first.
Yeah, I mean, MBZ as well can move to the other side of this dip or sort of hole he's in.
SWAT peeking.
But he's not going to be able to do too much beyond that, I don't think.
It's just see the team's just peeking up a little bit. Oh, C8R8 priming the nades.
Have they still got smokes?
Yes, is the answer.
How?
They just, I don't know. I don't know. They always seem to have like 3 times the smokes they need, and JS making a run for it, but Mehmet and SWAT going to get lit up, and that will be the end of JS.
It's just too easy for them. And now they're going to be able to move in, and they're going to be a 4 versus 1 versus 1 situation in this final game of today of the first week of the semifinals. And now MBZ is so close by.
Ooh, it's Los Kev. And you can see Oraluz on the opposite side. They have an idea, at least vaguely, of where he is. They'll peek down. The strength and numbers are coming through here, and that's the end of MBZ. So it's all between Nox, last remaining member, and all of SWAT 6-9.
I mean, this is only going to go one way. He cannot do this. If
No. He opens up, though. That's going to be the start of it. Ray just lights him up and lights out for Nox. That means that we have a chicken dinner winner for SWAT 6-9. And man, a whopping 8 kills from Moha. How about that?
That is going to be an interesting play. 17 kills in total for SWAT 6-9 and
It's not a record breaker, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they just had their record beaten, and they were trying to catch up and trying to overtake that 21 kill record from last game, but it's not happening. And Nox do get the second place with 2 kills.
That was good.
Yeah.
It was a very passive game for them, relatively speaking, because they spent most of it actually running. It's like an old MBZ strat, but it worked out for them for the most part. I was questioning it. I thought they got knocked out early. Of course, they had a couple more members remaining. And now things have kind of gotten interesting. At the beginning of the day, Tom, if you remember, cast your mind back, we talked about Arab Madness and we talked about SWAT 6-9. Both these teams picked up a chicken dinner. Both these teams had a couple of questionable performances. At the end of the day, it's kind of dovetailed.
Yeah, I mean, they've both played fantastically throughout the day. All the teams have to be fair. Even the teams at the very bottom have played very well.
Round of applause for 963, man, because they just showed up on that final round. And let's take a look at our highlight reel of Erangel. It all started with UN facing off against Loot 46, and that was a stellar nade.
Got to give him mad props, but has probably one of my MVP plays here in a couple of seconds. He takes out this player, very small amount of health, about 25, 30 HP. Peeks around the corner, easy headshot, followed up by a body shot and headshot onto the last player. You can't challenge that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it was like, it felt like he didn't even mean to aim for that, but he just managed to get the lined up shots as the planets and the players kind of aligned in the perfect position. And here was this play between MBZ and Snap, and MBZ playing with not everybody all at the same time, managed to come up with the win after the end of this really chaotic back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely deserve the win here in this fight. Rather, they do actually walk away from this and get a 3rd place overall and a couple of kills to boot as well, so got to give them props. And then we see KA versus 963, and 963 being able to win over this team was really good. KS doing it decently, but unfortunately ended up dying to LND. It was a little bit of an unfortunate situation for the fan favorites, but then SWAT 6-9 being able to find the Light Pirates, a little bit disappointing for the Pirates here, not able to be able to move a bit further into that leaderboard.
No, they're definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board for next week, and we'll see what they can do, because we just didn't see that, good old jovial dancing Pirates as we have of old. And this was Moha on the scope. He didn't find everybody. ZBRT or Z8RT didn't find everybody either on 963, who lasted a little while longer, but they were still just lighting people up, and this is where they find the Light Pirates.
Yeah, and you have a look at JS here, who are hiding in this sort of little dip here. They manage to pick each other up when they do go down. The grenade was just constantly knocking them two apart. But you know what? SWAT 6-9 coming out through the day as well, being able to wipe out this team of 7T really easily as well.
Yeah, and that was a big surprising thing too. So we see 7T dropping out there. This is the ending fight when JS kind of make a run for it, but SWAT 6-9 are just that much stronger. And you can see from the opposite perspective as Oraluz was trying to pull the clutch. We will take a look at 963 versus the winner SWAT 6-9. This is the first time we've had 963 in the head-to-head, and they did 1,400 damage.
And they got 9 kills.
That's ridiculous.
Is that more kills than they had in total the whole
I
tournament
think
so
it
far?
is.
I think so.
I'm going to have to check my stats to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's more kills than they've had in the entire semifinals so far in all 5 other games.
That is insane.
Or excuse me, all 7 other games.
Yeah, I mean, and they almost got the same damage as SWAT 6-9, and they only got 9 kills compared to the 17 on SWAT 6-9. But 8 kills coming out for Moa. one of the guys who hasn't shown up before, but today he has.
Yeah, Lauren's only got 2 for himself, but he still dished out about 562 damage and a headshot to boot.
Yeah, we did see him coming up and lighten up the kill feed there, where he was getting knock after knock after knock. He eventually got found and then ended up dying.
Yeah, Yuznai did a pretty good job as well with 5 kills to himself, just about as efficient. And then, of course, Ray, who had previously been the standout player in Spot 6-9, only got the 3 kills, but 900 damage to boot. I mean, that's where you're really starting to see him pump it out.
Yeah, I mean, pump it out. And that was what he did with that damage, taking the majority of his
if you say so,
damage on his team. You know, I just wanted to say that.
This is a pretty even comparison here between Groza and Abood, which is crazy because Groza's had some insane performances. This one, not too bad. Maybe not the best we've seen from him, but Abood coming up early with a lot of that damage. And, of course, these were the players that weren't involved. It was Dabai and B-Seal. Of course, both these teams 5-man rosters, so they aren't always using all their players.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to give the props to even the substitutes we have seen out through the day actually switching out. Thanos didn't play all the games. Codex didn't play all the games, but SMP did do decently well throughout the day.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Could have done a lot better, but considering our expectations of them, I'm kind of happy with how they performed, but I'm really happy with how 963 performed. Can't wait to see the scoreboard and be able to reflect on what they did and did wrong.
They'll have a chance to move up that ladder. We know we talked about how this was kind of like the crunch moment, the last chance for this week to really move your way up in the standings. There'll still be, of course, 8 more games for everybody to play, but on that level, we'll see how they can perform. And, of course, if you missed any of the information, just want to see where the standings are up to date, of course, you can find it on our website at clubopen.pubgmobile.com.
Nice and easy place to be able to find all the updated stats across all the regions, all the games, and all the days.
Indeed. And, of course, you can also catch all of those highlights and all of our live feeds over to YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. Make sure you give us a subscription and, of course,
ding-dong that notification bell,
just so you do not miss a single minute of the PUBG Mobile action. It has been a fantastic week 1 of the semifinals here, Tom. Man, I don't think I've got a single complaint. It's been brilliant. I can't wait to see what week 2 brings us.
Yeah, and we saw obviously Miramar yesterday for the first time in what feels like ages. Next week, I think we should be seeing it twice.
10,000 years! Yeah.
10,000 years. But next week...
That was impressive, actually.
Oh, yeah, maybe we should go into voice acting. But Miramar is going to be making a return next week, and so will we. But for now...
That's going to be it. So we are off for the week. We will be back on Friday. Of course, it will be at 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time, so make sure you set your clock, and we will see you back there then. But on behalf of the broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
PUBG Mobile for free.